हाँ जी, गुप्ता जी नमस्कार।
नमस्कार नमस्कार।
प्रवीण जी नमस्कार। प्रवीण जी लगता फोटो अपनी छोड़ के चले गए।
नमस्कार सर, नमस्कार।
ओह बढ़िया, अपना वीडियो भी दिखाओ ना, अच्छा लगेगा देख के। सब लोगों को मेरी तरफ से बहुत बहुत नमस्कार। शिखा जी, नाउ यू कैन टेक ओवर, शो योर वीडियो आल्सो।
Hi, good evening, everyone. Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Sia Shikha Rai. Welcome you all on behalf of All India Insolvency Professional Association, in association with JIPA Professional Association, New Delhi, NCLT Kolkata Bar Association, and Kerala Insolvency Professional Forum. As IPA, we conduct series of webinars to keep our members updated, and I have been pleased to keep the I'm pleased to be a part of this beautifully designed webinar where we are energetic, dynamic, and knowledgeable minds of our professionals. So there are recent amendment in CIRP, voluntary liquidation as well. So we have renowned advocate IP, GPA Madan sir, very own advocate Ashish Mukhija ji and Nipun Singhvi ji, who will take us to the journey of this analysis of recent amendment, as well as we will discuss certain case studies as well. I would like Manoj ji to take over now.
Thank you, Shikha ji. Thank you very much for brief introduction of our IPA. देखिए, हम लोग every second और fourth Saturday को सेमिनार करते हैं. In that particular series, it's our 8th seminar. And we have seen it that when we do organize, or in fact any other association one organizes attendance, we thought of increasing the attendance. In fact, we also have a very good attendance. Around 100 people do attendance, but we thought of increasing the attendance. Only way of increasing attendance and having a reach on the national level also, we thought of joining with other association also. In that process, as Shikha had just told you, we joined with NCLT Kolkata Bar Association. We joined, with GIPA from Delhi. We joined with the Kerala Association from also there. And in that process, as far as our IPA is concerned, we are one of the oldest association. Just say, today I was attending a seminar by the IBP-I also. They said that they have completed 6 years of service to the formation. And accordingly, we have completed 5. We formed approximately 5 years ago. We'll be completing our 5 years of formation in 1 or 2 months. Before I take up the topic, I request Mr. S.M. Gupta, who is very senior and he is the president of NCLT Kolkata Bar Association, to say a few words. Mr. S.M. Gupta, please.
सभी को नमस्कार। और दुर्गा पूजा की हमारे कलकत्ता से बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं हम भेज रहे हैं। आज का दिन जो है वो बहुत बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है दुर्गा पूजा की इस सीरीज में, क्योंकि आज महाषष्ठी है और आज पूरे कलकत्ता की जितनी दुर्गा पूजा है सबका उद्घाटन आज जिसका बचा है। वैसे तो यहाँ तृतीया या चतुर्थी से शुरू होता है आजकल, लेकिन जिसका भी बचा है आज सारे उद्घाटन कंप्लीट हो जाएंगे। और इतनी भीड़ रास्तों के में घूमने वालों की हो रही है कि कहीं से कहीं जाना भी 2-4 घंटे का मामला है। इतना जबरदस्त यहाँ पूजा का उत्साह हो रहा है कलकत्ता में, तो इसमें आपका सबका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। आप लोग कभी कलकत्ता आके यहाँ की दुर्गा पूजा देखिए तो आपको अंदाजा लगेगा कि दुर्गा पूजा कैसी है। जो अभी यूनेस्को ने इसको रिकॉग्निशन दिया है एज ए सोशल एंड कल्चरल इवेंट, यूनेस्को ने दिया है अभी इनको। यूनेस्को को अभी 4-5 प्रतिनिधि आए हुए भी हैं, उन्होंने इनाम भी दिया है आके हम लोगों को, वेस्ट बंगाल गवर्नमेंट को, दुर्गा पूजा को, कलकत्ता की दुर्गा पूजा को बहुत सराहा है उन्होंने। तो ऐसे माहौल में जो जब यहाँ पूजा का ऐसा माहौल है, इसमें जो आप सेमिनार हम लोग कर रहे हैं ये बहुत ही ज्ञानवर्धक सेमिनार है। और जब मिस्टर आनंद ने मेरे को फोन किया तो मैंने इनको बताया कि भाई हम तो हमेशा आपके साथ है और विद्या का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन जितना हो उतना अच्छा है। जितना विद्या बांटेंगे उतनी ही बढ़ेगी। धन तो जितना खर्च करते हैं, हम लोग को बताया कि 55 में जितना खर्च होगा तो ये तो बहुत बेटर स्पीकर है और बाकी भी जो हमारे स्पीकर है बहुत बेटर हैं, तो सीजन सब स्पीकर्स है। तो इससे हम लोग का सबका ज्ञानवर्धन होगा और ऐसे इस माहौल में, दुर्गा पूजा के माहौल में अपने को सबको सरस्वती की प्राप्ति भी हो दुर्गा पूजा के साथ साथ, ही बहुत बढ़िया चीज है। तो इन शब्दों के साथ मैं आप सबका स्वागत करता हूं और आई एम सेंडिंग ऑल माय बेस्ट विशेज। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
मैं एक कहना चाहूंगा कि दुर्गा पूजा का जो है वो कलकत्ता के अंदर मैंने दो साल वहां पे रहा हूँ और मैंने वहां पे देखा है कि दुर्गा पूजा के अंदर क्या जो है वो लोगों के अंदर एक काफी क्लोजनेस आती है। रियली इट इज अप्रिशिएबल।
बहुत बहुत जबरदस्त है।
ये हमारे राजीव खुराना जी थे, इनकी हमारे साथ बहुत ज्यादा हेल्प रहती है। ही इज फ्रॉम सेंट्रल बैंक ऑफ इंडिया, एक्स डीजीए। ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर ब्लेसिंग्स। गुप्ता जी, आपकी ब्लेसिंग्स के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद एंड वी विश एंड मूव फॉरवर्ड आल्सो। तो अब मैं इनवाइट करूंगा केरला इंसॉल्वेंसी प्रोफेशनल फोरम से राजू सर को। राजू सर, प्लीज कम ओवर एंड से सम वर्ड्स टू अस, प्लीज।
गुड इवनिंग मनोज कुमार जी, गुप्ता जी, and other team members of AIPA and GIPA. We are very happy and privileged to associate with these two associations along with the Calcutta Barbage Association in these continuous education programs. We are about 80 members representing almost all the IP professionals from Kerala. I also welcome the eminent faculties here in the they require no introduction. They are always teaching us. We are learning from them. We are very happy to associate with these associations. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Raju sir. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Now I would like to invite from GIPA, Mr. Praveet ji. Praveet ji, say some words. आप तो हमारे साथ quite old associated है. Please have some words.
Thank you, Manoj ji. I want to welcome all India Management Insolvency Professional Associations and Kerala Associations and NCLT Bar Association Kolkata and all the participants, wishing for a bright future, and also say this type of webinars or arrangements with the associations will continue, and our main objective to be that webinar seminar to be organized at across the world with around the clock. This is our theme. Thanks so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. तो आज हमारे दिल्ली के अंदर एक as far as IBC is concerned, there was a very big event. IBBI का 6th annual day था, तो आज उन्होंने अपना 6th annual day celebrate करा। तो most of IPs who are Delhi based, they were all there and we meet each other also. That program ended approximately an hour ago. I rushed back to back to my home so that we can organize this meeting also. We have with us Mr. Madan sir, we have with us Mr. Makhija ji, we have with us Mr. Nipun Sanghvi ji. तो जो हमारे मदान सर ने ज्वाइन कर लिया है, निपुण जी ने भी हमारे को ज्वाइन कर लिया है. आशीष मुखीजा जी, he is so busy. He is at present at USA. Despite all this thing, despite such a hecticness, he promised कि नहीं मनोज जी मैं इसको आपके साथ मिलके करूंगा. तो most probably he be joining us very soon. And मदान सर, am I audible? नमस्कार मदान सर, co-host बना दिया आपको.
Mr. Makhija has joined.
Makhija joined. Okay. I make him co-host also. That's great. तो सर एक मिनट मैं जरा मिस्टर मखीजा को ज्वाइन को-होस्ट बना लूं. सर
मैं तो आनंद साहब पिछले 10 मिनट से आया हूँ.
सर चलिए, आई मेड यू द को-होस्ट आल्सो. थैंक यू वेरी मच सर. आपके लिए आपको हम गुड मॉर्निंग बोले या गुड इवनिंग बोले, जो भी बोले, दैट इज देयर. In any case, okay. Now let's move to the technicality of today's program. In fact, earlier जो हमारा flyer था उसके अंदर हमने लिखा था कि we be going for the CIRP and other things there. But we have a discussion. When we issued this particular flyer and when we started meeting, lot of important things come out to be there as far as insolvency professional is concerned. So accordingly, speakers were guided us and they told us कि let that topic be taken up. Along with that, one very important thing has happened that one very important Vidarbha Industries case has come out to be there, which has some nexus with the Rainbow Paper Mills, and it is diluting Rainbow Paper Mills. So I would request Mr. Madan to enlighten us on that particular case also. Firstly, so that we can move with it, and after that, there has been a plethora of amendments as far as CIRP is concerned. We be dealing with mainly in detail with Fifth Amendment also, and along with the amendments as far as insolvency professions is concerned, that we be dealing. For that, we be enlightened by Mr. Ashish Mukhija ji and Mr. GP Madan ji. As far as corporate insolvency amendments, second, third, fourth, along with voluntary liquidation and normal liquidation is concerned, that will be taken by the Nipun ji. Nipun ji, can you come over the screen, please?
Sir, I am there, sir.
Yes, I know. I've made you the co-host also, and if you want, you can share your PPT also. So with these words, I request and hand over to Mr. Madan sir. Sir, please enlighten us with your deliberations. Please enlighten us.
Okay, thank you, Manoj ji. Good evening, everybody, and good morning to Makhija sir. And I really admire your passion, Makhija sir, that being an early morning for you. I think it's abhi to jet lag bhi aapka nahi utara hoga, and you have already, I think it's maybe a second session you have been taking from there, from US.
It's a third session.
Third session, like within 3 days, third session after reaching US. Hats off to you, sir. So friends, as Mr. Manoj said, that today we had a IBBI annual day. And I tell you, it was a mesmerizing day. But why? Because the speech of the Honorable Finance Minister was mesmerizing today. It was absolutely ex-tempo, covered whatever required to be covered for the success of this legislation. And if there are any pitfalls, particularly with respect to PPIRP, because since beginning I have been saying that PPIRP is a non-starter, and this fact actually has been acknowledged by the Honorable Finance Minister that PPIRP has not kicked off. And PPIRP were brought in the legislation on the basis of the suggestions of the stakeholders only. But today the situation is that PPIRP has not kicked off. That is why they have asked IBBI and other stakeholders to sit down and to see what are the pitfalls, what are the issues in implementation of this entire PPIRP, why MSME.
Sir, I have muted everybody. Madan sir, आप unmute कर लीजिए.
Okay, thank you. So I think this event was live on YouTube also. I think so.
Those who have not been able to, because certainly outside Delhi you can't be present physically, those who have not been able to see it on YouTube also, please log into YouTube later on and do watch. Maybe you may avoid the earlier portions of the two speeches, but you must listen to Honorable Finance Minister. Now coming to today's topic, Manoj ji ने अभी duty assign की है regarding this dismissal order of Vidarbha Industries. As all of you know that earlier in the month of July, in case of Vidarbha Industries, an application under Section 7 was rejected. A petition which was filed under an appeal which was referred before Honorable Supreme Court, and Supreme Court dismissed that appeal on the basis that Honorable Adjudicating Authority may reject an application under Section 7, and the reasons which were being quoted in the media also, but not in the judgment. The judgment was very clear. Actually, I was in favor of the judgment. The judgment was very clear that Honorable Adjudicating Authority has a discretion under Section 7 to admit or not to admit an application, while the same discretion is not there under Section 9. Then a review petition was filed, and on 22nd of this month, the review petition was dismissed. But while dismissing, the Honorable Judge said that in the dismissal order, you will find a certain clarification. And that order of Honorable Supreme Court has been hosted on the website of Supreme Court day before yesterday. But the order is dated 22nd September only, because the Honorable Judge was retiring on 23rd of September. And that order is dated 22nd September and has been hosted on the website day before yesterday. Manoj ji ne kaha that has some relevance with the Vidarbha, with the rainbow papers. Actually, if I go through that dismissal order of Vidarbha, I see that to some extent, the damage which has been done by rainbow papers, to some extent that damage has been undone. This is what my personal interpretation is. Some of you or all of you may not agree with me, but that's what my interpretation is. Now, I would like to go through this 4 or 5 page judge order. I would like to go through that order. And then I would like to compare it with rainbow papers. Are you able to see this on the screen? Manoj, you are on mute.
Yes, sir. We are able to see you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are able to see you.
Now, this is the dismissal order. It says that this petition for review was listed for open court hearing since it was mentioned and submitted that this court had overlooked the judgment of this court in E.S. Krishnamurthy versus Bharat High-Tech Builders Private Limited reported in 2022 3 SCC 161, to which the attention of this court had not been drawn. The petition, review petition was preferred on this basis that actually Supreme Court overlooked its earlier judgment of in E.S. Krishnamurthy. And now they say that our attention has been drawn to 2 paragraphs of the said judgment of E.S. Krishnamurthy, which paragraphs are extracted herein below for convenience. Now, these are very important paragraphs of E.S. Krishnamurthy and quoted here in this dismissal order. The para 31 says, on a bare reading of the provision, it is clear that both clauses A and B of subsection 5 of section 7 use the expression it may by order. The word it is here for the adjudicating authority. That adjudicating authority may by order admit or reject. While referring to the power of the adjudicating authority, in clause A of subsection 5, the adjudicating authority may by order admit the application, or in clause B, it may by order reject such an application. Thus, 2 courses of action are available to the adjudicating authority in a particular case. What are these 2? the adjudicating authority must, now it says, adjudicating authority must either admit the application under 575A or it must reject the application under 75B. Now it says either it must admit or must reject. The statute does not provide for the adjudicating authority to undertake any other action but for the two choices available. And then in para 34, they're talking about what other options could have been which are not permissible under the law. Para 34 says the adjudicating authority has clearly acted outside the term of its jurisdiction under section 575. The adjudicating authority is empowered only to verify whether a default has occurred or a default has not occurred. Based upon its decision, the adjudicating authority must then either admit or reject an application. These are the only two courses of action which are open to the adjudicating authority under section 7.5. The adjudicating authority cannot compel a party to the proceedings before it to settle a dispute. So wherever an application under section 7 is there by a financial creditor against a corporate debtor, either adjudicating authority can admit it or can reject it. It cannot force any of the parties to settle the dispute and withdraw the application. That is not within the purview of the adjudicating authority. This is what, according to this order, this is what was decided in E.S. Krishnamurti. Now, what is the relevance of these two paragraphs here? Here they say that question of the highlighted portion, the question of whether section 7 subsection 5 was mandatory or discretionary was not an issue in any of the judgments cited on behalf of the review applicant. What they are saying in Vidarbha we have discussed whether 7 is mandatory or discretionary. Supreme Court is saying in any of the earlier judgments, this issue was not in question. That is why we have not reversed any of our earlier judgments. The second sentence says in this para only, what was an issue in Krishnamurti case was whether AA, adjudicating authority, could foist a settlement on unwilling parties. And that issue was answered in negative. No, NCLT cannot ask for settlement. I'm again repeating it. Supreme Court says in earlier cases, the issue was whether a settlement can be enforced upon or not. This issue was never there whether section 7 is mandatory or discretionary. This we are deciding first time no in this case, Vidarbha case. Then they say, the learned Solicitor General of India submits that certain observations made by us. Now they come to Vidarbha's July order, July judgment. They say learned Solicitor General of India submits that certain observations made by us in the judgment and order under review could be interpreted in a manner. Now, just some public में हम सब कह रहे हैं, Supreme Court is also saying the learned Solicitor General is asking us that it can be interpreted that might be contrary to the aims and objects of IBC and render the law infructuous. Court says this apprehension appears to be misconceived. We never said like that. This apprehension is absolutely misconceived. Why so? Then court further says, and here I apply this further two paragraphs, I apply to Rainbow also. Here court says, the elucidation in para 90 and other paragraphs, para 90 of Vidarbha, and other paragraphs were made in the context of the case at hand. It is well settled that judgments and observations in judgments are not to be read as provisions of statute. मनोज जी तो सारे कैमरा ऑफ करके बैठ गए हैं, कैसे बात करूं मैं? They say it is well settled that judgments and observations in judgments are not to be read as provisions of statute. Judicial utterances and or pronouncements are in the settling of the facts of a particular case. Now read in conjunction with Rainbow. To interpret words and provisions of a statute, it may become necessary for the judges to embark upon lengthy discussions. तो कह रहे जो हमने कहा है ना वो सब discussions ही हैं. the words of judges interpreting statutes are not to be interpreted as statutes. I think they have opened through this order. Another Pandora box has been opened now. Supreme Court itself is not saying the words of judges interpreting statutes are not to be interpreted as statutes. Whatever we see are saying, it's not law. तो रेनबो में तो जो कुछ है आप खाली फाइनल उसका पार्ट देखिए क्या है, ऑपरेशनल पार्ट जो है, बाकी जो कुछ रेनबो में कहा है वो कहते हैं दैट इज नॉट स्टैट्यूट. That whatever has been said, we have said with respect to a particular judgment only, but on the basis of facts of that case only. That is what they are saying. There are no grounds for review of the judgment and order. The review petition is accordingly disposed of. So these last 2 or 3 paragraphs, according to me, we can use. As far as Vidarbha case is concerned, I'm absolutely in favor of original Vidarbha document or original Vidarbha judgment. I got nothing to say on that. And here Supreme Court has clarified that whatever the observations of judges are there, they are not statutes. Whatever the observations of words of judges are, they are to be read in fact in terms of the facts of a particular judgment only. And here what I have decided, tomorrow whenever adjudicating authority asks me that whether have you complied with Rainbow or not, my reply would be I'm supposed to comply with Rainbow. Because the Rainbow has been clarified according to me in Vidarbha dismissal order. This is what my interpretation is. Now it's open to Makhija Saab and my dear friend Nipun.
Okay, Madan Saab, what I read from this is, see, this kind of clarification which Supreme Court has given was not at all required, according to me. Because we as students of law always know that the judgment is always rendered in the facts of a given case. So it can't go beyond, because the basic principle of law is that the text and context must match. And I've been saying this while I've been discussing Rainbow for a number of days now together. And my first sentence is, please do not read too much. Because you can distinguish Rainbow on the basis of the facts of each case. And everyone is saying, like I've already explained, state is a statutory dues or secured creditor. I'm sorry, you will have to see the law and the facts of the case, number one. Number two, whether the RP should admit claims on the basis of the books of account, the answer is no. Whether statutory authorities are bound to supposed to file the claim, the answer is yes. Because the setting was, they also interpreted the law which was existing before 4th July 2018. So friends, this was all clear to all our minds that a judgment is always on the basis of the given facts. It turns on its own facts and circumstances. So if you are asked to distinguish tomorrow between Rainbow and your resolution plan, you have to set down a tabular chart where you say, look, this was an issue in Rainbow, this was the text, this was the context, and this is my distinction. So you will have to distinguish, because this job has to be done. By just simply saying that these judicial pronouncements are in the setting, the court will not be satisfied. They say, okay, tell us why your facts are different from the Rainbow's case. So you will have to demonstrate before the court while doing that. Well, at the end of the day, if we look at the clarificatory, dismissal of the review, one, let us also understand the review has been dismissed. So therefore, nothing has been reviewed, nothing changes. Two, in fact, you also read just now, they are saying that earlier the issue was not there in any of the judgment, whether it is discretionary or mandatory. So once the court has decided that it is discretionary, well, that stays. That stays. There is nothing which can go on now. So therefore, I will not read too much into this also. That's my interpretation would be. And in any case, the text and context has to match. Whether it was written or not written, it was still given. So, and looking at those things, now this review petition which has been dismissed, again, it has to be read in the facts and circumstances of the case. How can it apply to Rainbow also? Somebody can argue that also. Anyway, I'll leave it.
Why I'm saying this, Makhija Saab, because every bench is asking is, do you file an affidavit that you have complied with Rainbow?
No, sir, either you comply or you show that it doesn't apply to you. I've been saying this, you have to distinguish. So for distinguishing, please make a tabular statement, friends. What is the text? What is the ratio of that rainbow judgment? What is the context in which it was made, and how your facts are different from that case? That's all what you need to do. If you do this small exercise, I think you have done everything. You've done everything. That's there. Okay. I think I'll not read too much. I think let Nipun comment on this, and then we can move forward quickly on the subject where we are.
So, sir, after Madan sir and Makija sir speaks, I think nothing remains but just something factual which I tried to delve more into Vidarbha. I was just understanding that what is the factual context, why this Vidarbha issue has come up. So basically, this was a power controlled entity wherein the money was stuck because of the regulatory commission. And there was some 1700 crore of amount which was stuck, which was in favor of the Vidarbha. So basically, the amount which was being asked by Axis Bank in Section 7 was hardly 500 crores. So that context is also important, that amount was meager in terms of the amount which was in favor of the corporate debtor. And therefore, court was convinced that you have to look at a overall picture and not just the debt and default. So that is one part. And second, I think important part is that if a company is able to make out a case that it is otherwise solvent, just for one creditor, it should not be forced upon. So though they were discussing it in the context that a solvent company should not be sent to IBC, but during that discussion, they had come to this section 7 and 9 may and shall controversy, probably, which I think may not have been touched. On the facts of the case, it could have very well be taken like that. But the things as it may be, but now NCLAT, and I think Makija sir and me were yesterday also discussing over a webinar, that Section 7 interpretation by Supreme Court in Vidarbha is now being used by NCLT and NCLAT to distinguish the same thing in Section 9 and reject it also on the same ground. So that is now what has been coming, and probably that will stop because of this review order, because Section 7 parameters cannot be blindfoldedly applied in Section 9 petition. So that is something which is, I think, going to come. That is my comment, sir. Over to you, Madan sir.
Over to Makija sir. Makija sir, we can start with the IP regulations.
Okay. Chalo, great. Friends, very good evening to all of you. I think without wasting any further time, I think let's move forward on very important aspects of the regulations which have been amended. Well, September, I would say, has been a very, very eventful month insofar as the Supreme Court judgments are concerned, insofar as the regulations amendments are concerned. And we have seen it by the bulk. And we have seen the flurry of webinars also. But I don't know whether those webinars have helped you or caused more confusion. But anyhow, our attempt is always to reduce that confusion. So let me straight away, because what we have done is we have discussed in this platform also the CIRP regulations in a very detailed manner, particularly the second and third amendment. Fourth amendment, of course, was not discussed. But let me, bring out a very important aspect is relating to the insolvency professionals, because sometimes some amendments take place and we do not really care about it. But I think we need to look at those. So there have been 3 amendments also in this month on insolvency professional regulations. So these are Second Amendment, Third Amendment, and Fourth Amendment. And they have happened on 13th September, 20th September, and as late as 28th September. So let me concentrate first on the 13th September, which is a very nominal one. I'm not going to devote much time on this. Now that is only changing, that is only adding one more aspect in a code of conduct. So we know that we have a code of conduct, which was divided into 10 parts, and we had 47 clauses. Now the 48th clause has also been added. Now it says insolvency professional shall not accept or share any fees or charges from any professional and or support service provider who are appointed under the processes. Well, this is not too much because at the end of the day, they want no conflict of interest. So I won't read too much into this, but yes, it is there. Now let us move on to the other parts. 20th September, we saw some amendments in insolvency professional regulations. Now, what are those and how do they impact the IPs. Number one, friends, they impact you in respect of the payment of fees. Earlier, IBBI was charging 10,000 rupees for a period of 5 years. Initial registration, 5 years. And then after every 5 years, they will charge 10,000. But now they have increased it to double. It is 20,000 rupees now. So next time when you go for registration with the IBBI for a period of 5 years, whenever it is due, you will have to pay 20,000 rupees. So it has gone up, right? So this is one of the important aspects. Well, 10,000 and 20,000 may not make a big difference. That's all right. But then the other aspects are that, look, there are some payments which we were making. We all understand that all IPs who are holding AFAs, now they have to pay 0.25% of their fees. As an insolvency professional, they will have to pay, they are paying rather, to the IBBI. Well, friends, this has increased 4 times. Now, instead of 0.25%, friends, you will have to pay 1% now. So it has gone straight away by 4 times. Now, the second aspect, which is also very important, is that the one more aspect which has been added is that now, besides that, you will also have to pay 0.25% from the realizable value to the creditors. That has to be paid now, and realizable, where the realizable value is more than the liquidation value. So first we'll have to understand this, that number one, we have to calculate liquidation value, which is definitely available, which will be average of 2 valuers. And now if the realizable value, which is payable to the creditors, is more than the liquidation value, only then this provision comes into effect. If realizable value to the creditors is less than liquidation value, then nothing is to be paid. Let me clarify this. Second aspect. Now, if the second situation is there, like liquidation value, realizable value is more than the liquidation value. And second condition is plans approved on or after the on or after, you see, 1st October 2022, then in that case, this amount needs to be paid. And what is the amount? What we have to pay is 0.25%. Now, this is very, very important, that 0.25% has to be paid by the, you see, from the realizable value. So 0.25 is related to realizable value. It is not the difference. So let us understand, if the liquidation value is say 100 crores and realizable value to the creditors is say 101 crores, obviously it is more than. Now 0.25% of 101 crore is to be paid. It is not the difference. So it is 0.25% of the realizable value to the creditors under resolution plan. And this realizable value to creditors will not include the CIRP cost, because on CIRP cost, they have asked for another fees. So that is a separate aspect. So first is realizable value to creditors. Now here I have just one observation. Of course, then I will, you see, invite Mr. Madan and Nipunji also to comment on this. Realizable value in a normal case, supposing everyone is paying, say in terms of money, say a person says, I'll pay financial creditors 40 crores, operational creditors this much, government dues this much. So I know this is my realizable value to creditors. First, I'll compare this against the liquidation value. So it's not a resolution plan value, it is a realizable value. That's for first we have to understand. 2, now how to calculate realizable value in case of real estate. Now that is going to be a big problem because IBBI has not clarified it out here. Now in case of home buyers, supposing they have invested 1,500 crores. Now they are getting their flats, they are not getting any money. So should we include the cost of the ultimate flats, or should we include the amount of the claim which they have filed equal to the realizable value? Because at the end of the day, they are getting flats worth that value also. So this is one aspect which is not yet clear, because they are not being paid anything. This is what is very important for us to understand. Now, if they are being paid, then it would have been a different story altogether. But here they are not being paid, because I just want to draw your attention to, just give me a second. I think there were CIRP regulations also amended to this effect. Yeah. So if we look at the CIRP, you see, Fifth Amendment, it also says a regulatory fee at the rate of 0.25% of the realizable value to the creditors under the resolution plan shall be payable to the board where such realizable value is more than the liquidation value. And this will be applicable for the plans which are approved on or after 1st October 2022. Now, realizable value to the creditors, whether that will include the amount which is which the home buyers are also getting because they are getting the flat, whether it is a realizable value or not, that is something which could be debatable also. Because I'll tell you this problem, why this arose, you see, long time back also. When we were to calculate, you see, section 53 as compared to section 32B, in a real estate case, compliance of 32B read with 53 becomes very difficult. Because what is the amount which you are giving to the home buyers? You are not giving any amount under the resolution plan. You are giving them flats. So whether the amount of the claim which is being filed by them, they are getting equivalent value to that. So whether that will be included or not, that is the first question which needs to be answered. Number two, okay, I'll just stop here. I'll just take the comments of Mr. Madan also. Mr. Madan, what are your comments on this particular aspect? Sir, you are muted. Actually, we can't hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
We are on the same page, sir. The other day also we discussed that in case of real estate, it is next to impossible to calculate the realizable value.
Correct.
There will be, I mean, number of real estate projects, we see the total claims which have been filed are the tune of hundreds and thousands of crores. But the amount to be infused by the resolution applicant is hardly, maybe sometime 10 crores, 50 crores, 80 crores, 70 crores, 100 crores. So if 1,000 crores claims have been filed and the amount to be infused by the RA is only 100 crores, what shall be the realizable value? Whether it will be 100 crores, 1,000 crores or 1,100 crores.
Okay.
Not been clarified on what basis this fee is to be calculated. I think we need to have a clarification on that.
And there is another aspect to it, sir. In these cases, that because supposing the 70% building is completed, obviously liquidation value is going to be more. Now, if we take only whatever money is being brought in by RA as a realizable value, it will be hardly 10 crores or 20 crores, whereas the cost of the building already is 100 crores. So it is less than the liquidation value. So one can always say nothing is to be paid. But yes, according to me, if you ask me, of course, we will have the opinion of Nipun also. According to me, because they are also getting equivalent value. So it has to be because there is no haircut. I mean, ultimately, they are getting 100% of whatever their claims. Otherwise, the statistics will also go haywire. The IBBI will say, oh, against 1,500 crores, only 10 crores. So therefore, there is more than 99% of the haircut. This is not a correct situation. So I think the claims which they are getting should also be treated as part of the realizable value. Yes, Nipun, any comments on this?
One more thing from my side. Actually, for this amendment, I consider as myself as one of the culprits. Actually, yeah, I gave this suggestion in writing to IBBI chairperson that instead of charging 0.25% from the insolvency professionals, you may charge 0.25% or 0.5% from the successful resolution applicant for the amount to be paid to the financial creditors. Even on that amount, you may have this fee 0.25% or 0.5%. Reason being, whenever a resolution applicant is submitting a resolution plan, वो कहीं ना कहीं 10 to 20% का buffer उसमें होता है that we may, if required, we may increase it. And no resolution applicant would mind paying 0.25% or 0.5% to IBBI of the amount to be paid to the financial creditors, which has been paid, not adjusted against the flats. But my submission was that in lieu of that, the 0.25% which you are charging from the insolvency professional, that should be stopped immediately. But what they have done, they have introduced the successful resolution applicant, fee, and they have enhanced the resolution professionals fee also.
Correct.
That's not called for.
Correct. Okay. Yes, Nipun, any comments?
I agree to what views you both, sir, have expressed. In fact, sir, I go a step ahead. If you see, they have included this in the CIRP cost.
Correct.
So this will be now counted as a CIRP cost. And I actually doubt that when we are saying realizable value, and if you see, there is another phrase which probably other amendments we will read, payable. So amount paid to creditors and realizable value to the creditors may be dependent on the term of the plan.
Correct.
So whether this will have to be paid upfront or whether it has to be paid on deferred basis. And obviously the example which you gave, that if the valuation or liquidation value is more, then it is going to create problem. In fact, the incentive also, they in the incentive also they have used the same phrase, payment to creditors. So
Correct.
that is also a difficulty, that today CIRP cost has to be paid in priority. So we are to assume today itself, when the plan is going to get approved, payment has to be done today. Now, if payment has to be done today, this 0.25% or incentive, whatever, we have to pay today. And tomorrow, if the plan fails, what would be the consequence? Whether the doctrine of restitution would apply, whether the money would be repayable from IBBI or by the RP, it's going to be very big issue.
No, you see, the Nipun, I think you have raised two interesting aspects. One is the meaning of realizable value. Meaning of realizable value, unfortunately, has not been defined in insolvency professional regulations nor in the CIRP, but you are absolutely right when they brought in the success fee portion. Now there they defined realizable value. And realizable value, they said, means the amount payable to the creditors in a resolution plan. Now, amount payable. Now that causes another confusion whether the amount, whether the home buyers were getting flats, will you treat that as an amount payable or not? Because there are two aspects. I'm happy if it is included. Then as an RP, I can also charge 1% or my incentive fees on success fee on that amount. So the cake becomes bigger. So I think we should be very happy about it if it is included. The second aspect which you see particularly raised is the issue of restitution. Like, see, the point is, we don't know what is going to happen in future. But let's understand, the condition is the plan has been approved by adjudicating authority. The moment the plan is approved, now this money has to be paid. Now, the question is, if the plan fails later on, whether IBBI will refund the money. You're absolutely right. There is no, you can say the guidance on this particularly. But I would say, once a plan is approved, now this is chargeable on that event. That event actually happened. Now, later on, if the plan fails, we can't say the plan never succeeded. So plan always succeeded. So according to me, I think that will not be recoverable. IBBI is not going to refund the money. That's my view.
Sir, I will give you an example without disclosing the name, that there is an order by IBBI. Let's say that this much IP fee was wrongly charged. Let's say 100 rupees was charged and it should be, let's say 60 or 70. Now that excess money which has been charged, obviously it's a misconduct and everything has happened. Now that whether the amount which we have paid to the board, whether it will also become repayable, the revised figure would come, because this problem is coming in almost all the cases.
Right. No, that will be there, because I'll tell you, the reason is, in one of our cases, one of the IPs filed, you see, form number, I think form number E is to be filed with the IBBI for payment of the 0.25%. Now he disclosed X amount. When he filed form number 3 before IPA, he disclosed X plus Y, which was higher than X. Now IBBI caught it. They said, look, you pay lower fees. So anyway, we revised that form number 3. We said, no, there was some, we prepared a reconciliation and we could justify. But all I'm saying is, if they can ask for the balance money, so if somebody has paid excess, obviously they need to refund that also. So the same principle should apply in those circumstances.
Okay.
Yeah, Nilesh, yes, please.
One question from my side. Whether IBBI is entitled to charge this kind of fee. I think they are regulator to insolvency professionals, insolvency professional entities, and then IUs. I think they are allowed to charge fees from them. But whether they can impose this type of cost that, and it is not going out of the, they are not recovering it from the IPs or IP entities or IUs. They are charging, they are kind of imposing a tax, and which I don't think they are entitled under law. If we see section 196(1)(c), kindly see that what it says. It says levy, fee or other charges for carrying out the purpose of this code, including fee for registration and renewal of insolvency professional agencies, insolvency professionals, and information utilities. So question is whether they can charge this kind of fee which is based on outcome of this. And this is not a fee which is recoverable from insolvency professional. No, out of that kitty, which is what we call that CD's assets, which is created out of that. You are imposing a kind of tax that it will have to be paid if realizable value is more. Do you think that they are allowed to do so under law?
Okay. Nileshji, I think two aspects you have raised and wonderful points you have raised. Number one, whether the IBBI is entitled to charge, that is first question. Number two, you are saying that they are only to regulate IPs or IPEs or IPS, so probably they can charge fees or whatever from them and not for success of the plan and other things. You are absolutely right. I mean, I will not deny that. Of course, it is subject to somebody has to file an appeal and or maybe a writ petition to challenge this, and probably somebody will go to the court. But I want that somebody to be a fantastic person. Because what happened earlier when 0.25% was to be charged, the matter came up before Madras High Court suddenly, and I don't know who argued, probably the arguments did not matter much to the Madras High Court and they dismissed the writ petition. So I don't want, you see, somebody to file it and just for the sake of fun of it or just to be in the news. If any writ petition is to be filed, then it is to be drafted in a proper manner and it is to be argued very well. That's one point. Two. Now, coming to your question, you see, IBBI has very smartly done this thing. I was also observing it. What they have done, they have amended Regulation 7.2 of insolvency professionals. And what does 7.2 says? That the registration of the IPs will take effect unless he follows all these things. A, B, C, D, so and so. Now they have added CA. So, though it is not being charged from IPs, but they have made the responsibility of the IP to deposit money. Look at the smartness. So it is a part of 7.2 CA. And it is one of the conditions that if you don't do this, then you will not be able to maintain registration with IBBI. You will not be a fit and proper person to maintain registration. So it is the responsibility to ensure compliance. Of course, he doesn't have to pay out of his own pocket, but compliance is to be ensured by the IPs only. Now, the question is whether they can charge it or not. Well, some RA has to go to the court and probably fight it out. And I think, first of all, Mr. Madan will also be made a party because he suggested this to IBBI.
Correct.
Anyhow, that is in a lighter vein. Okay. Now let's move on.
I suggested it subject to the suitable changes to be made in law. That is also written in my suggestion.
Correct. So
Secondly,
if you are made as a party to the writ petition, you will also oppose it. No? So that's better.
Absolutely. Secondly, I'm just favoring Mr. Nilesh Sharma. The penalty which is being charged by IBBI from insolvency professionals, if you read section 220 subsection 3, you will find that in majority of the cases, IBBI cannot levy that penalty. IBBI is not an authorized, not entitled, not empowered. IBBI has no authority to charge that penalty because 223, the case must fit in section 220 subsection 3. Only then penalty can be levied, not otherwise.
I think there can be a certain difference of opinion, sir, because you see, you look at, 196, there is one clause, I don't remember, but there is a clause which clearly says that the quantum of the penalty can be decided by the IBBI. So anyhow, I mean, let's
no, sir. There again, it says where such loss or unlawful gain. So first of all, there has to be loss or unlawful gain. Then only, and that is not quantifiable. Then that comes into picture of maximum 1 CR. But in some of the cases, there is no loss, there is no gain, and still the penalties are being levied.
Sir,
Okay.
I would like to endorse the view of Madan sir. I have also taken this one of the grounds in my writ petition. This is also one of the grounds that the quantification should happen.
No, that is a different view. See, quantification means you are trying to close their discretion, right? Because
Yes,
sometimes they
under
impose
223 only, sir.
5 crores, sometimes they impose 10 lakhs. You see, that of course I agree, because there can't be arbitrary. You have to have some, you see, control. But whether they can charge or not, Mr. Madan is challenging that. You are not challenging that. You are only challenging the quantum. So that's
No,
a
sir,
separate.
I have challenged the quantum vis-a-vis 220 subsection 3, saying
Ah.
that they will have to show that there is some damage, there is some loss caused to somebody, and therefore you are penalizing me with so and so amount.
Well,
So
anyway, this is again debatable, because you see.
Sir, I just give you one example. I just give one example. Suppose notice of the COC meeting is not in its heading. It says when the meeting is going to be held, what is the date and time, but the body says so. Another example, minutes have been circulated after 96 hours, not during 24 hours or 46 or 48 hours. No, because of these delays or non-mentioning of the date and time in that heading of the notice, what loss has been caused to somebody and who has gained out of this? If because of this non-compliance, if a penalty is levied, how can this penalty be levied?
No, Madan sir, see, let's not get into all these things. I'll tell you, I don't quarrel or dispute what you are saying, but let us go to inspection and investigation rules. Let us go to disciplinary committee rules also. There, you see, the disciplinary committee has been empowered to impose these punishments. And those punishments are all not mentioned in 223, but they are different punishments than 223. So they are not imposing for the law's cost, you see, under 223, but they are imposing otherwise cost also. That, okay, you pay this. Just if we go through those, there are 10 provisions which are there, that what kind of, you see, punishments they can award. So that is also one sort of punishment. Well, somebody has to challenge it. The constitutional validity of these aspects have to be challenged in toto. Only then, you see, they will do it. Now, in fact, in one of the cases, they challenged, you see, in Bombay High Court, saying that, look, he must file the writ petition in only New Delhi because we were based in New Delhi. The Bombay High Court has rejected that writ petition. They say, sorry, because the cause of action arose, IP is registered here, he is empaneled here, he is doing the work here, so obviously he can do that. Well, because IBBI now is running to all, you see, high courts now, all over India. So it's a problem for them because they don't have the infrastructure to do that. Anyhow, let's leave it there. Let's move forward to the next, you see, charge which has been there. And what they are using the word. They are using the word regulatory fee. That's very interesting word which they have used. Anyhow, now, not only that, they say 1% of the fees, of the professional fee, which has been, you see, which is also professional fee, which is paid to the other professionals. Well, that, and which is included in the CIRP cost, right? Hiring of any professionals or other services by IRP for assistance in IRP, 1% of the cost booked in CIRP cost has also to be paid now. So this is something which is in addition to the other aspects of, you see, 0.25% of realizable value to creditors. Now you have to pay 1% of that cost. I mean, the payments which are made to any professional services, which could be legal, which could be accounting, which could be forensic auditor, which could be valuer. So all these professionals will be included. Friends, let me clarify, security agency charges will not be treated as professional charges. Other expenses which you are incurring will not also be treated as professional charges. So professional, because if you go to form number E, right, which you and form number 3, which you file before the you can say before the IPAs, there are 2 different columns, professional services, and then it says other expenses. So you have to total up those professional services, and then you will have to pay 1% on that of the cost which is booked. So this is also one of the amendment which has also taken place, friends. Madan Sahab or Nipunji, any comments on this?
So, sir, this is a fit case where we can also file writ. Because we are going to get payment as a lawyer in the matter. So probably this 1% is going to hit us. It's just
it's not going to hit you. You are not supposed to pay it.
Sir, agreed. I agree, but the cost is going to increase.
No, the point is, Nipun, you are being paid, so assuming, say, 5 lakh rupees a month, assuming, right? So 1% of that comes to 5,000 rupees. So IP will deposit that. He's not going to charge or deduct from your 5 lakh rupees. It is his responsibility to pay separate now. That's all.
But what I am saying is, suppose the process cost was X before the amendment. Now it is increased by whatever percentage we can say. So this is actually increasing the process cost itself. 1% and this 0.25 is going to increase the process cost in an overall scenario.
Right. Now there is another. Madan sir, any comments on this? Because I want to deal another aspect from
yes,
which
sir, I do have my comment on this, and I agree with my dear both of you. You know, ultimately, sir, what has happened, I've seen number of disciplinary cases where even for payment of a 1 lakh or 2 lakh by the IP, IBB has taken disciplinary action that you have increased the CIRP cost. This is an additional burden on the corporate debtor. In one case, what has happened, on the insistence of committee of creditors, the resolution professional got third valuation conducted. So as per law, 2 valuations have been conducted. Those 2 valuations were there. Now COC says they get the third valuation conducted. He got it done. Now IBB has taken a disciplinary action against that resolution professional, has penalized also, found him guilty, that why third valuation has been done, even though COC has said you should have said no, because this is an additional cost on the corporate debtor. You have increased the CRP cost. Now, same regulator is increasing the CRP cost here for its own benefit, so that the expenses of the regulator can be met out of this cost. I think this should not be sustainable.
So do you think that 1% will increase the cost too much, that we can challenge this?
Sir, 1% of what? We have to see that. 1%. I'm not saying
1% of the fees which is paid to professionals included in CIRP cost.
Sir, in number of cases, the professionals are being paid crores of rupees.
So if they are being paid crores of rupees, if you add 1% to that, it's not going to make much difference. Sir,
in such a case, if 2 lakhs has been paid to the valuer, that does not increase any burden on the financial creditor or on the corporate debtor. The same principle should be applicable. Quantum is absolutely immaterial. The principle should remain the same.
Ashish ji, one thing. You said that for hiring of any professionals, if any fee is payable, but the language is in respect of hiring of any professional or other services. So other services include even the hiring of a security agency, I think.
Okay. No. There are 2 different things, because you see, I'll tell you. Other services, Nilesh ji, we have to apply.
Shweta ji, kindly mute yourself.
For interpreting other services. So for applying the, interpreting other services, I'll apply the principle of usdom honoris, right? So which means that if other service is not defined, it will also take the same color of professional services.
Should I share the?
We are talking about.
Should I share the regulation?
No, I don't think that is required. If you want to share it, you can share it.
Shweta ji, mute yourself. Shweta Agrawal.
Okay, I think Manoj, you don't have to mute everyone. You can select one person also. You can mute that person.
When she speaks, then again, it gets automatically unmuted.
Anyhow, okay.
Yeah, sir. No. I have one question there, and that is there any international practice also whereby such type of fees are being charged by the regulator?
See, the question is not of international practice. In fact, India will set a precedent for other international practice. Why do we have to look for other international practices all the time?
Okay, in that case, sir, I say one thing. Is there any similar sort of practice under any other, with any other regulator? Say, CBDT is also a regulator. Say CBIC is also a regulator. There was a very big hue and cry when in the CBDT charged the late filing, fees.
Manoj, I'll just give you one example. I think that will be sufficient. SEBI is a regulator. After all, SEBI is also charging from brokers. They are also charging from sub-brokers. They are also charging from all these things. And they are also taking some portion in that, you see, other values also. So regulator, of course, he has to survive. See, there is no quarrel that they have to be made sustainable, right? Self-sustainable, because the government can't fund them all the time. But the only thing is, it should be legal. We are not saying that, you see, they can bring in from a back door and then start charging. Well, they should amend the law. That is what we are saying. If you want to amend the law and charge 1% from the RAs, from the resolution plan, nobody will mind it. See, if I'm submitting a plan of 100 crores, what is 1% of 100 crores? I will absolutely agree and pay 101 crores also as an RA. So all we are saying is bring it in the law, charge it to the RA straight away, and cover your expenses, whatever you want to sustain, rather than burdening, because at the end of the day, your paperwork increases. Now, earlier I had to only pay once in a year 0.25% of my fees. Today, I have to pay at, you see, different levels. So I have to create an infrastructure within my office also to calculate and then deposit. And somewhere they say you have to pay quarterly also. So all these, what I'm saying is, this is going to create problem. And particularly this 1% on the professional charges, it is to be paid on a quarterly basis, 30 days of the end of the quarter. So if your quarter is starting from 1st October, ending on 31st December, 30th January 2023 will be the first thing. But anyhow, I want to discuss a very important aspect. And I think I would request, you see, Mr. Madan and Nipun also to contribute on this. The question which will arise is that 6 months have already gone for this year. Now the fees has been increased from 0.25 to 1%. And then 1% has been brought in from the, you see, 1st October on CIRP cost, where the professional charges are there. The question that arises is that if I have to make the payment, will I make payment of 0.25% up to 30th September and apply 1% from 1st October? Or I will have to pay 1% on my entire 2022 or 23, you can say the income which I have earned, because I have to file my return on 30th April only, in the month of April only, right? So this is one confusion which could be there, and we need to debate and we have to sort it out. My view, my take is like this, that any amount which changes the percentage, higher or lower, whatever it is, it will take effect prospectively and it cannot take retrospectively. Of course, they have used the word in the preceding financial year. That is what they have used, the word preceding financial year. So I will say that up to 30th September 2022, I will calculate it at the rate of 0.25%. And from 1st October to 31st March 2023, I will calculate at 1%. And then I will pay to the IBBI. This, in my opinion, is pretty reasonable, because we can't say that for everything what you have earned, you will pay 1%, because these provisions are applicable only from 1st October 2022. I'm also basing it on, you see, the finance bill amendments also, which are always prospective. They're never retrospective in that sense, unless the law says so. And here they're not saying it. Well, over to you, Nipun and Madan sir.
Sir, I also agree with your interpretation, because normally whenever there is a charging section or there is some fiscal statute, it has to be strictly interpreted and it will always be prospective until and unless specified retrospectively. So therefore, I think interpretation should always be prospective as far as this is concerned. And probably if somebody is filing all the details and if there is an issue, IBBI automatically will come out and say, no, you have to pay on the entire amount. So I don't think so that will be a big issue.
So, but actually that is automatically calculated. We generally were filing this annually. The system will calculate the things. It is not manually calculate and do that.
Okay, so Mr. Rajesh,
within the internal system also they should change that one.
So Mr. Rajesh, what we believe right now, that the internal calculation of IBBI will also be calculated on this basis. That for the first 6 months, it will be 0.5. From 1st October, it should be 1%. If it is different, then probably we'll have to raise an objection that, look, this is not the intent of the law. So let's wait for that calculation to come. You're absolutely right. Yes, Madan Sahab.
I'm absolutely agreement with both of you. because though it says in the immediately preceding financial year, but in the preceding financial, there were two rates which were applicable. So the two rates which were applicable, one was for first 6 months, another was for second half of the year. Then aside for both the segments of this entire year, there were two rates, and I should be charged according to the rates which were applicable in that part of the financial year.
Correct. And friends, this is also one of the important aspects that now you will have to make payment of 1%.
Magija sir, one point. This is P.T. Joy.
Yeah, Mr. Joy, go ahead.
Sir, this is on accrual basis or on receipt basis? This is to be paid.
See, it is basically on the basis of what is being. That is also another aspect which needs to be considered. But I would say it will be on the basis of the amount payable. So because they have used the word payable, so payable means on accrual basis. So whether you pay or not, you can't defer it. Only thing is, if you don't account for the bill or something like that, that's a different issue. But obviously, payable means accrual basis.
I think the practicing insolvency professionals may answer this question better because they are actually paying it and filing their returns.
Sir, what we practically do take into consideration, we raise bill as per the receipt of the payment. Before, if anybody asks us to raise, this is bank generally insists that we should raise them a bill before and they make the payment. Then we raise, not a final bill, but a temporary bill.
Manojji, please appreciate. Suppose you are in resolution professional and a fee of rupees, say 2 lakhs rupees per month has been fixed. Now, for the entire year, 24 lakhs is payable to you, but you have not received a single penny during the entire year towards your CIRP fees. Now, as your resolution professional, whether are you supposed to pay 0.25% on this 24 lakhs or not? That's the question.
Not at all. Not at all. We won't pay. When GST laws permits us to raise an invoice within 15 days of receipt of the money, and when most of these the things are being governed by GST laws, when the GST law permits us to raise the bill after receipt of the money within 15 days, we go with it that only.
Now tell me another question. Suppose the 2 lakhs rupees per month has been fixed. Are you supposed to raise the fee, raise the invoice every month? And if you don't raise the invoice, does it not mean this fees is you are not entitled to this fees?
Sir, as per the GST law, the bill has to be raised within 30 days of providing the service. We cannot defer the act of raising the bill.
Yes.
Absolutely. In fact, I agree with Mr. Joy, because sir, as soon as we supply, we have to raise the invoice. Whether it is payable afterwards, that's a different issue.
In fact, if we read the language, it says a regulatory fee calculated at the rate of 1% of the cost being booked in CIRP cost. So what you are booking in CIRP cost is more important. So you will book it on the basis of the bills received. Because you see, these are not for your own books. You are maintaining the books of a corporate debtor, which are on accrual basis. So therefore, being booked means bills received not paid will still be treated as a CIRP cost. And then, of course, you will have to pay some amount on that. That is what they are doing.
Mr. Joy, in case of continuous service, this clause is not applicable. In case of continuous service, you can raise bill within 30 days of your receipt of the money. Chaliye, in any case, this will be a debatable issue. If you feel that the amount has to be raised on the basis of renting of service, then you must, but we have adopted this practice. We pay on the basis of receipts only. As far as raising a bill is concerned, that we raise non-tax invoice.
Okay. Now, friends, there is one more big change which has come. What is that big change? Now, they are also permitting IPEs to act as insolvency professionals. That change has already come from 28 September. So if you are an IPE, you want to register it as an insolvency professional, again, you'll have to follow the same process. You will have to get enrollment with the IPA, and then you will also register with IBBI. So same process has to be followed. Of course, they have changed some qualification criteria, because the qualification criteria for individuals, like you have to pass an exam and all those are not there. But the last clause which is there, that you must be in a good standing. So good standing clauses are applicable for IPs also, but that does not mean that there are no qualifications for the IPs. Obviously, for recognition of IPE, those conditions which are given in Regulation 12 are still to be satisfied. In fact, they have added 2 more in that. but those conditions are to be satisfied. So if you are recognized as an IPE, then you are entitled to be registered as an IP. So those two things are separate. You may only seek recognition, end of the story, keep on rendering services what you were doing, or you want IPE to be registered as an IP, then you can also do that. So now you will be wearing two hats, one as an IP and one as non-IP, but you are simply an IPE. Now, the only condition which they have mentioned is that they will allow only a partner or a director who is an IP and holds a valid authorization to sign and act on behalf of it. So in case of any assignment in, say, IRP or RP or a liquidator or bankruptcy trustee, your IP is appointed as an IP, then you must designate one partner or director who must be an IP, who must also hold AFA. Valid AFA is required for that personal purpose also. And similarly, AFA will also be granted to IPE. So please understand. So now there's a double cost. So there will be double cost. So now the fees also has to be paid, which has been increased tremendously now. It has been increased from 50,000 rupees to 200,000 rupees. That is 2 lakh of rupees is to be paid for IPE to be registered as an IP. So this is one change which has come. Well, whether it is right, whether it is wrong, debatable. We have already debated it when this background paper came, but I think we can have comments of Mr. Madan and Mr. Nipun.
Madan sir, are you? So, sir, I agree with whatever you have said. I just wanted to add something. Sir, one amendment which was there of 13th September.
Right.
I have this query and I am thinking about it, that it says an IP shall not accept or share any fee or charges from any professional or support service provider who are appointed under the processes. Now, they are saying that you cannot share fee. Now, let us read this with this IPE. Suppose I am also a partner in an IPE and that is supporting me. And there are two payments made by the CD, one to me in my individual capacity and one to IPE. Now, because I am a beneficiary of IPE, maybe I am a partner or a director, and as per their parent law, let us say LLP Act or whatever, I am being entitled to an X amount. Does this amendment does not hit that particular amount which I am getting in the capacity of a partner of an LLP or a director of IPE? Because technically speaking, if I read this regulation with IPE, there is some contradiction. Probably they are trying to say that I can take only one fee, and that is in my individual capacity. And the money which is going to IPE cannot be shared between us. So
Okay.
your views, sir.
Yeah. Nipun, just it's a very, innocuous answer I will give you. See, whatever you get your money as a partner of LLP or as probably as a shareholder, now that is distributed in the form of a, say, remuneration or in the form of a dividend or as a share of profit. Now, share of profit is not sharing of fees, because the fees exactly is going to the IPE. Thereafter, after all expenses, a profit is calculated, then it is share of profit which is being distributed. So it is only a distribution of the share of profit. It is not sharing of the fees. So I don't think that will be really hit by it. What they mean by this is that supposing I am an IP, I have also hired an IPE, which is a separate IPE. Of course, I may not be a partner there. So they are rendering me support services. I can't say that you pay me 40% out of that. So this is because this was happening. I was getting my fee, say 2 lakh rupees, 4 lakhs was going to, say, IPE, but from there also IPE, I was getting, say, 20% or 30% of my share. Now they have stopped that. They said, look, you will not get any fees from that professional or something like that. So this has been prohibited. That's my view.
Sir, I am saying that I am getting two amounts. Whenever I am a partner, I am entitled to a remuneration also as a partner and entitlement to profit. So remuneration is something which is an expense. I agree with your interpretation of the share in profit. But what about the remuneration? Because that it is possible that IPE may be exclusively working with my matters or my cases.
Well, Nipun, again, you see, remuneration is not necessarily only for one event. Remuneration is, I may be handling administrative matters of the company. I may be handling, you see, many other assignments also on behalf. So remuneration is also a compensation for my time. It is not related to a single IP or CIRP. So therefore, even remuneration will not fall part of this. That's my personal view. Yes, Madan Sahab, your comments on this.
Sir, Nipun ji रास्ता बता रहे हैं. The door has been closed here. 2 doors are open.
I know.
One raw doubt, if you can ask one doubt.
Yes, Mr. Yusuf, go ahead.
Yeah, in the case of remuneration, if he's acting as an IP under an assignment, and if he's getting remuneration, doesn't that conflict with that position of not to have any employment while doing the work of an IP?
No, remuneration means I've not understood. Supposing are you a part of the IP or you're an outsider?
I am an IP. I'm an IP as well as I am a partner in IPE.
Correct. So you are getting what from IPE?
I am getting a fee as an IP.
You are getting
also a remuneration from the IP. Is that possible?
Yeah, that's possible. There is no conflict of interest here.
Okay, thank you.
There is no conflict here. I don't see any conflict, sir. Okay. So this is one. Is anyone interested in creating, or registering IP as an IP? Are you really keen, or have you floated that idea, or has it come just suddenly and you have not applied your mind? I'll just like to have comments from few of our friends who are running IPs. Or if they are working independently, then it's a different matter. It doesn't matter.
One more question, which is
one more question, sir. In case of IP has taken the assignment, if any disciplinary action will be taken by the IBBI, then it will be applicable to all IP partners, and their license will be suspended.
Very good question, Tripathi Saab. Let me answer it this way. Of course,
actually, Makhija Saab, this question has been raised by many participants today at the annual day.
I'll try to answer that. Right? Acha, okay. If it was raised at the annual, so was it answered or no?
No, not openly, but amongst the
in the private meetings. Okay.
चाय के समय में.
चाय के समय. चलिए चाय पे चर्चा को उसको अंजाम दे देते हैं. Let's try to answer this. Mr. Tripathi, let's understand it this way. As far as your IP is concerned, the liability of the partners is joint and several, including the professional liability. This is very clear from the regulations which we have already read, right? Which are already there. No denial, because people were afraid of becoming IP because, this liability is joint and several. Now, here are two things. One, IBBI says that you will have to name one person, one director or partner who is an IP holding a valid AFA, that he will be responsible to act on its behalf. So he is only acting on its behalf. Its behalf means that the entire IP can be held responsible tomorrow for disciplinary action, which means but insofar as the disciplinary action is concerned, like supposing some personal issues have happened, then a person will be responsible. Supposing he has withdrawn money and done some fraud, well, that person will be responsible. Then the entire IP can say, look, we were also not aware. But insofar as the professional misconduct is concerned, because IPE is an IP, so who is going to be held responsible? Definitely the board of directors or the IPs, entire IPs. So all IPs can face an issue. The only defense which as lawyers will take it, oh, I was not involved into day-to-day affairs, why you are grilling me? That could be one of the things. Compare this with, Institute of Chartered Accountants or any other institute's disciplinary proceedings. Right now, Institute of Chartered Accountants or others, they do not have power to take disciplinary action against the firm. They didn't have earlier. Now, of course, they have amended the law. And now NFRA can take action against the firm also. So they can debar the firm from conducting the audit, so which will affect all the partners also. So definitely, friends, IPE, supposing it is debarred for 1 year, well, it will affect the IPE as well as all the IPs also who are a part of it. So in that way, in that context, I will say that IPs can also get affected. Yes, Madan sir?
Sir, my view is slightly different. That suppose in case of a company, if a director gets disqualified to act as a director, that does not mean that entire board gets disqualified. That this only individual director is disqualified, not the entire board. So here, this if one person, there is any misconduct or any person, any particular IP has been professional misconduct is there, has been suspended or registration is cancelled, that should not impact or affect the IPE as a whole.
Sir, all I'm saying is, let's understand this way. IPE is acting as an IP. So action will not be taken against a single person. That IPE will be held responsible and can be debarred for 1 year. So if IP is debarred, naturally those people who are part of IP will not be able to do, business as an IP in the name of IP. So they also get affected to that extent. So this is the misconduct, the penalty is imposed. Like supposing, say, IBBI says, pay 10 lakh rupees. So now, if it is imposed on IPE, all partners are jointly and severally liable to pay that 10 lakh rupees.
Sir, one clarification. Suppose in case of an IPE has been appointed as IP. And whenever any assignment is given to this IP, which is actually IPE, whether this IPE is supposed to intimate to the board or to the adjudicating authority or not, that which particular IP will be handling the assignment? Or can it happen that there are 12 partners and for 12 different months, 12 different partners can handle this assignment?
No, this is what is already mentioned, sir. This is mentioned in 7.2HA. There is a new clause which has already appeared. And I'll read, in case of an insolvency professional entity is an insolvency professional, it shall allow only a partner or director, as the case may be, who is IP and holds a valid authorization to sign and act on behalf of it. Please understand.
Right.
He is still signing in the name of IPE. So therefore, the IPE, the functioning of IP is being challenged, like in a company's case also. Supposing shares are not allotted. Besides the board, even the company can also be held responsible. Because if we look at the penalty sections in Companies Act, somewhere it says company and the directors and the board of directors shall also be liable. So liability can come on company also. So here the liability will primarily come on IPE. But if a particular person is also involved in doing a misconduct, then he can also be hauled up according to me. Yes, Nipun. I think yeah.
That being the case, if for an act of an insolvency professional, entire IP can be punished and the way the disciplinary actions are being taken, I don't think that any IPE will come forward and will get it recognized as IP. That being
I would like to add something. You mentioned about the company's director's action. If entire board authorizes one director to act on behalf of the company, for his action, who will be suffered? Entire company, because the same is in the IP case. Entire IP is authorizing one person to act on behalf of the IP.
So you are right, sir. That is what we are, examining the whole thing. Like supposing a check is bounced, signed by a managing director. So prosecution can happen against the company as well as the MD who has signed. So both are responsible to that extent. So IP will not be escaping, because at the end of the day here, IPE is the IP. Let's not forget that. Who has been appointed as an IP? IPE. So disciplinary action will lie against the IP, insolvency professional. Therefore, they have replaced everywhere. They have replaced with its. Himself, they have replaced with itself, or some words which have been replaced. Okay, Nipun, your comments on this.
Sir, I think this is somewhat, in a way, what is happening in CA firms, and I have been appearing in DC cases, wherein what they were trying to show, that suppose audit partner is Mr. X, there is a review partner concept also, there is a whole audit team concept also. This particular thing was assigned to this person. So what we normally do in the audit, whenever there is a liability, we say that the two concepts of vicarious liability and strict liability. So definitely, if we go by this, the person in whose name the assignment has been given, he is vicariously liable. There is no doubt about it. But as far as this liability fasten or somebody is concerned, normally I have seen in DC cases, what happens is they show that suppose something was related to inventory, and it has happened in big cases like this, that inventory was not properly verified, cash was something like not verified. Now this assignment was being delegated to a person. Again, he's also an IP in our case. In audit firms, it is a chartered accountant. He may be in the capacity of partner also, and normally those are young partners. We all know how the defenses are made in such type of cases. So I think probably they will now also have to bring this set of clarity, what work can be assigned, and whether when we are appointing, whether appointment would be in the name of an IPE specifying the IP or not. Because a person is specified in an order, it's a different thing. And if an IPE is appointed, then it's a different thing. Your views, Madan sir.
Well, you see,
sir, a question. Sir, a question. May I ask, sir?
Yeah, just give me a moment. Nipun, just to answer your question, see, please understand. I also gave an example of Chartered Accountants Act. The reason I gave was because institute did not have power to take disciplinary action against the firm. So naturally, whenever a firm audit, you see, went bad, they used to ask in the first, you see, when they sent a show cause notice, please tell us the name of the partner or the chartered accountant who conducted, who is responsible for answering it. So that is the first question which every firm had to answer, because they never had the power to take action against the firm. Now, later on, the act has now been amended. And I can take some debit or credit for that, because I was a part of that committee which recommended amendment in all the three acts, chartered accountant, company secretary and all. And now they can take action against the firm also. So all I'm saying is, if they can now take the action against the firm, and if they debar IPE, like they are debarring IPs also, supposing they debar an IPE that you can't handle assignment for next 3 months. Naturally, as a consequence, it affects all the IPs who are part of IP also. Everyone is punished for that matter, isn't it? So this is the way it is going to happen. Yes, Manoj Kumarji, you wanted to ask.
Sir, suppose if the registration of the IP is cancelled.
देखिए सर, कैंसिलेशन तो कम ही होता है, सस्पेंशन ज्यादा होता है. कैंसिलेशन बड़े एक्सट्रीम केस में होता है. दो केस हुए आज तक.
बिल्कुल है सर, मैं कह एक भी हुआ है तो व्हाट विल हैपन इन दैट केस इफ द रजिस्ट्रेशन इज कैंसिल्ड.
बड़ा सिंपल है सर, रिकॉग्निशन भी तो आज विड्रॉ हो सकती है ना. टुडे आईपी हैज बीन रिकॉग्नाइज्ड बिकॉज ऑफ दीस. इफ यू डोंट फॉलो दोस कंडीशंस, इट कैन बी विड्रॉन. So if it is withdrawn, everyone will suffer. That's all right. I mean, you become a part of the IP, understanding all these pitfalls. But you become part of IP because you are, you see, increasing the infrastructure. You are shaking hands with others because you are getting bigger assignments. You can show better infrastructure. So risks and rewards are always equal, sir. They will go hand in hand.
Actually,
Okay.
In case of companies, we don't find such actions, so people are becoming directors without any fear. But here, where the disciplinary actions are being taken, I don't know whether that will be an encouragement to the IPs to come forward and incorporate IPEs, or whether existing IPEs will get themselves recognized as IPEs. This is a big question.
Yeah, I see. The point is, this is also dependent upon supposing the banks start insisting. No, we want IPs to be appointed in bigger cases. So naturally, the bigger IPs will register themselves as an IPs. So anyway, we'll see how it pans over a period of time. Yes, Manoj Kumar ji, you wanted to ask question. I stopped.
Sir, एक क्वेश्चन है. कंपनीज के मामले में ऑथराइज सिग्नेटरी को हम चेंज कर सकते हैं मैटर टू मैटर बेसिस के ऊपर.
करेक्ट.
तो क्या आईपीएस के केस में जो ऑथराइज पर्सन होगा और जो इन्फॉर्मेशन प्रोफेशनल होगा, क्या उसको भी हम बार बार चेंज कर सकते हैं, या फिक्स रहेगा पर्सन जिसने एप्लीकेशन फॉर्म फाइल किया वही हमेशा रहेगा?
सर एक बात बताइए मुझे, सपोजिंग को आईपी से आपने एक एक्स आईपी को किया, वो आईपी रिजाइन करके चला गया, विल यू बी एंटाइटल्ड टू चेंज और नॉट? द आंसर इज यस. सपोजिंग दैट आईपी एक्सपायर्स, will you be able to change the IP or not? The answer is yes. So naturally, if you want to change, I think the change will always be allowed. That I don't think there will be any restriction on changing the authorized signatory or person to sign and act on behalf of it. So I think that is also possible. Okay. So
there may be another possibility that is IP is also resigns from this firm or the company.
That's what I'm saying. Resignation or he doesn't remain an IP.
Cessation because of any other reason.
Correct. उसने फीस नहीं जमा करी, his registration is cancelled, he doesn't hold valid AFA. Naturally, those can be circumstances which are there. Yes, Nipun.
Sir, recently there was an order where the IPE was paid more money than the IP, and that IP was also a part of that IPE. Now, in such a circumstance, suppose that IP is banned, I think something will also come on that IPE, because that is
now that is a big question which is yet unanswered. You are absolutely right. Supposing IPE, they have got 6 IPs. One action has been taken against one IP. Now, what will be the repercussion of that action on the IPE? According to me, nothing, everything is silent here. But to my mind, that IP will not now be a part of the IPE. Obviously, everyone will say, okay, you can't act as a capacity of IP, so therefore we're asking you to resign or you remain as a consultant there. So then he will not be calculated for the purpose of majority of the directors or the shareholders. Probably
so
that could.
I am raising a bigger question, whether that IPE, because they are saying that IP paid, let's say 100 rupees and IP was paid 150 rupees. That is what the observation is. Now, if that IP is, let's say, banned for a year or 2 years, whatever. Now that IPE, there are some allegation and findings against the IPE also, saying that they charge money and they are also registered with IBBI. So in a situation like this, where an IP is penalized and along with him an IP is also held responsible, don't you think that IPE will also become responsible in such a case?
No, according to me, Nipun, in this case, they will have to start another show, give a show cause notice to IP and start separate proceedings. You can't hang 2 people in one show cause notice. That show cause notice was against only an IP. There may be an observation against IPE. Now, if they want to take disciplinary action against IPE, they will have to issue a fresh show cause notice and take action. They can't take action in a single show cause notice. So that is my view. They'll have to start fresh proceedings against that IPE. That should be the proper criteria. Okay. So this is one of the aspects. Now, look, now IPEs are also being recognized. So now IPEs will also be bound to pay the similar kind of fees. That now they will have to pay 1% of the fees which they are getting. Then they will also have to pay, you see, on the realizable value, whatever 1%, and then also the 0.25% on, sorry, 0.25% on the realizable value, and then 1% on the payment to the professionals and others. So even IPEs will also be responsible for making all these payments. So these are big changes which are coming, friends, and I think we must look at these scenarios because, and then there one question can be there, that supposing IPEs have to pay on their turnover, because that is also already existing, that you will have to pay 0.25 on your turnover, which is the current one. So if I pay on my turnover, and that turnover also includes my fees as an IP, so do we have to pay twice? That means 1% there and 1% here now. I think that has been clarified by IBBI. They say, look, if you are acting as an IP and you have paid 1% under Regulation 7, then under Regulation 12, you can exclude that amount. So fees as an IP on which you have already paid 1% will not be included in the turnover, because your turnover will include 2 things: acting as an IP or acting as rendering support services to the others. So you will pay 1% only on support services and not on IP, because that is being already charged under Regulation 7. So this has already been.
I have one question on this.
Yes,
if somebody is hiring some professional, the 1% when to be paid at the end of the financial year or simultaneously? Because suppose CIRP is closes within 165 days or 150 days, what will happen to that amount?
Okay, I'll tell you, sir. It is to be paid on a quarterly basis. Like supposing and the quarters will start from 1st October, 1st January, 1st April, and similarly 1st July. So supposing, let's take an example, 1st October to 31st December quarter is there. So whatever in CIRP cost you have paid to the professionals, you will pay 1% over that within 30 days. That means by 30th January 2023, the first payment will be due on that date. So this is to be paid quarterly. Rest all others payments are annual payments. So they have to be paid like 1% on my fees as I'm paying, you see, by 30th April. So those will remain same. But on the payment to the professionals, it is to be paid on a quarterly basis. So this is the change which has come, sir. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Okay. So friends, any questions? We can leave the forum open now for any questions on this aspect, any clarifications which are required. Otherwise, we'll move on to the third segment, which is also very important, the liquidation amendments, I think, which will be led by Nipun.
Basically, I would like to add one thing. In
Yes,
the
sir.
financial institutions also, whenever there any staff members makes any fraud or anything, any misconduct is done, so it gives a reputational risk to the financial institution also. So RBI also imposes a penalty on the financial institution also.
Correct.
So on the same aspect, it is there.
But sir, we're not disputing that. All we are disputing is that why it has to come through backdoor, through regulations.
Yes.
Why can't you have first power under the Act itself? Well, RBI
Yes.
has got all powers under the Act, right?
Yes.
So all we are saying is that, look, you are making IP responsible for collection of the fees of 1% or whatever on realizable value, 0.25% realizable value. You are making it as a condition of continuing to be registered. Now, if I make a default, then I will be held responsible and not the SRA or any other person. So I am being held as an agent for IBBI to recover money and pay to them. That is exactly what is happening. I hope somebody challenges it in a writ petition. And if somebody challenges it, I think Mr. Madan, Nipun and me are ready to support that person. Okay. So let's go ahead. Nipun, now the floor is yours. Please lead the discussion on liquidation regulations.
I think, Manoj sir, do we have time to deliberate on liquidation?
We have, our scheduled time is up to 9:30 and we have approximately 45 minutes.
Okay. So I think I will read out and then I will request panelists to respond to whatever is being amended. So this is a new amendment with respect to compromise or arrangement. So it says that a new provision has been inserted, and it says that where the recommendation to explore proposal of compromise or arrangement has been made by the committee under regulation 39BA of liquidation CIRP regulation, the liquidator shall file the proposal within 30 days of the order of liquidation. So I think this is in a way capping the time for compromise or arrangement of 30 days. So though it has to be completed within 90 days, but now this 30 days time period has come. And a consequential amendment has also come in CIRP that even when the application is pending for liquidation order with the NCLT, the parties, the COC and the proposed this RP will keep on exploring the possibilities of compromise and arrangement. Basically, I think it is for reduction of time which is being wasted till the application is being decided. So in a way, they have tried to curb this particular time period. Where no fee has been fixed under sub-regulation 1, the consultation committee may fix the fee of the liquidator in its first meeting. So this is, I think, a welcome change because most of the disputes have been coming on the fee to be fixed of the liquidator, and there are various things. Sometimes regulation 4 is followed, sometimes they fix fee less than regulation 4, sometimes the RP is not ready to continue as a liquidator and somebody from the panel is being appointed by the NCLT. So I think this is a welcome change. Any comments, sir? Makhija sir, Madan sir? Sir, you are muted. Makhija sir, you are muted.
I think this doesn't require any comments, so please go ahead. I think this is simple to understand.
Another, and again, I think it is a good change, a welcome change, wherein they have now said that wherever a stakeholder does not submit its claim during liquidation process, the claim submitted by such a stakeholder and duly collated by IRP or RP during CIRP shall be deemed to be submitted under section 38. So I think this was much required because already there was a amendment before this wherein it said that updation of the claim will have to be done. So it is more of a clarificatory amendment as far as the liquidation claim is concerned. So claim before the liquidator now can be deemed. this is again a procedural amendment, and I think this is debated in much of the other CIRP amendments, wherein the process email ID has to be there and it has to be handed over. One interesting question which came to me by one of the IPs was that when you actually register an email ID, you are required to give your personal details, and that personal details could be your date of birth, your mobile number, and all these things which normally are given at the time of registration. So again, we will have to have a business email ID, and that has to be now handed over to the incoming person. It could be the liquidator, it could be replacement of liquidator. Another amendment is with regard to...
But Nipun ji, in that business email ID,
yes, sir.
Don't you think that the details of the individual are required to be given?
That can be changed and that can be modified. That is what I have understood of business email ID. Like normally we make our individual email ID, then we need to give the email and the this birth details. For OTP, we have to give our mobile number. That can be changed in case of business email ID. So probably now we will have to take a business email ID, and that could be handed over and it could be updated by the incoming person.
One question. That is the first meeting of consultative committee within 7 days. Whether it will be the same COC or to be changed something.
Sir, we will come on to SCC. I am just flipping through the amendment in sequence, sir.
Okay, Nipun, just two comments on the personal email ID. In fact, we also faced a similar problem in one of the CIRPs. Now, the person used his personal email ID. And obviously, there were more than 3,000 home buyers were there who kept on sending. When the new RP was appointed, we asked for the password. He said, look, it is my personal email ID. Now, that we faced a lot of problems because 4,500 claims, 4,500 emails to be forwarded. It's a big job. We don't know whether it will be done or not. Similarly, in another case, on MCA's website, some mail ID was being shown as a corporate email ID. Now, we asked for from the directors. Then they said, look, it is my personal mail ID. And said, you have displayed it on the website. So domains are becoming huge problems. So I think we have to start from the beginning, not only from the CIRP. I think this is an advice to the directors also who are working in the company that please create a separate email ID for the corporate debtor also. Because at the end of the day, that ID also has to be taken over by the RP. Yes, please go ahead.
So this is with regard to progress report. It shall enclose a statement indicating any material change in expected realization of property to be sold along with the basis of such change. So this is again a procedural amendment. I don't think so much is required. This is again with a sequence to that liquidation public announcement that the claims which have already been collated during CIRP, liquidator shall verify them which have not been submitted during liquidation again within 30 days from the last date of receipt of claim. So basically, I think this is an after effect of what Rainbow was trying to say. You go on the books of accounts if somebody has not submitted. Some cue from there has been taken, and it is now made that if somebody has submitted a claim once, let it be again re-verified during liquidation.
Nipun, in progress report, if you look at carefully the, you see, the change which has been made in 15.1, they say now the progress report has to be submitted in the format stipulated by the board. So friends, right now we never had a format of a, a progress report. Now they are going to prescribe their form. Of course, in these rules, the regulations, they have not prescribed. Probably they will intimate us later on. So progress report in the format as stipulated by those. So this is a big change. According to me, they're trying to standardize the things now.
Correct.
Okay.
In fact, in CIRP also, they have come out with that format in which the promoters has to supply the information. So they are trying to organize it, standardize it.
Correct.
Only one question here, sir. Yes, so sir. As per this progress report, we need to submit to the IBBA also, whether it is in the hard copy form or soft copy form. If it is a soft copy, to which email it is to be sent is silent at this point of time.
No, I think, Mr. Prasad, I think everything which is to be done is to be done on the portal of the IBBI. So there, all formats are there. You can always upload there. So they have a separate portal for that. So I don't think there is any quarrel on this particular aspect. And
sir,
they are
process, there is no such portal, sir.
They are only wanting e-filing only. No, wherever you see, you also file other forms also, na? Like today, I'll tell you. Whenever a Section 7 application is to be filed, a copy is to be submitted to IBBI. Now, where do you submit? They don't want physical copies. So they have created a portal. So my office and my teams are submitting there. So I am not aware because I don't look into these administrative matters, but I believe Nipun would be aware of this particular thing.
Sir, I think the format is not there. Specific format or form is not there for filing progress report.
No, I'm not talking about the progress report. They are only asking format. Of course, they will have to disclose now. That is what they have stipulated. So it is not stipulated. The query is whether they want hard copies. The answer is no. The second is how this has to be uploaded. I believe, you see, there is a portal. Otherwise, maybe you can send them at email also.
Sure, exactly. This is your answer. Actually, for the things for which they have not the portal, they have specified emails for everything, like PPI-IRP also. On that particular email, you can send your all this thing.
Right.
But till the time the format is ready, can we stop filing the progress report?
No. Continue to file in whatever way you are. See, if the format has not been prescribed, does not mean you will stop doing it. So you will continue to
format
file.
they are telling us, sir.
That's all right. I mean, let's not interpret in a manner that format is not there, I'll stop filing. No, I'm sorry. Let's not look at that.
Sir,
I have a point here, sir.
The progress report has to be sent to the proceeding@ibbi.gov.in.
Correct. I think you have already mentioned that email ID in the chat box, so all our friends can note this. Okay,
sir. But I have a point, sir. Now all the report has to be submitted by way of an application. IA has to be filed.
Correct.
Yes.
So if I want to submit the progress report, I have to file IA first. Then when I will submit to IBBI after
Sir,
it is approved.
No, please, no, not approved. See, they are only wanting the filing. The day you file it with the with the NCLT, you also mail it to IBBI. That's the end of the matter. So whether it is a format of the report, whether it is an application, does not matter. So do that. Same thing, you will have to do that. Okay.
Yeah, sir. One question is from my side is that the principal bench has issued a circular. What sir is saying that it should be filed in the form of IA. So what practice we have adopting, other IPs are adopting after that particular circular, I think, which issued 2 months ago approximately.
No, see, Manojji, that circular might have come. It was only clarificatory. As lawyers, I mean, we were all clear in mind that nothing can be filed without an IA. How will the registry take into account? Please understand, it is not like a ROC office where you can file a form and go away. It's a court. In a court, everything has to be in the format of an, IA. That is what it is required. So because it has to be numbered, it has to be registered. So it was only clarificatory to that extent, according to me.
Sir, but I have seen different benches. They were taking progress reports like that. You could file it and they would keep it in the registry. Now, some of the benches were asking that, no, we will put the matter on record even if you file. So therefore, this concept has started.
Right. Now consistency is there.
Yes. Okay. So another important change, and I think Sajjanji, your query would be resolved now. So this is a big amendment in stakeholders consultation committee, and here I would request.
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Sir, can you please come to the previous 2 slides?
Yes.
One is on Regulation 12.
Regulation 12. 12A, sir, or 12? Okay. 12. Yes, sir.
It says, in the principal regulation, the following shall be inserted, provided where a stakeholder does not submit its claim during the liquidation process, the claim submitted by such a stakeholder and duly collated by the IRP or RP as the case may be, CIRP process, shall be deemed to be submitted under Section 38. Right? No issue. Now come to this Regulation 30. Yes. Provided that the liquidator shall also verify the claims collated during the CIRP. First of all, we need to understand the meaning of these terms, collation and verification. It says liquidator shall also verify the claims collated during CIRP, but not submitted during liquidation process within 30 days. Now they are saying that they are collated earlier. He shall verify, which have not been submitted. Earlier they are saying that they shall be deemed to have been submitted during liquidation, if not submitted now. Whatever has been done earlier, that shall be treated as submitted. But they are saying if he shall verify the claims collated during CIRP, but not submitted during liquidation process within 30 days on the last receipt of the claims, and may either admit or reject the claim in whole or in part. I don't know, I'm finding some sort of inconsistency between the two.
May I explain, Madan sir?
Yes, sir, please.
Sir, with respect, sir, there is no confusion. Let me clarify this. What they're saying is that supposing during liquidation, say one creditor does not file, and supposing he has already filed and which was collated, right? Of course, it was also verified because under Regulation 13, it is still to be verified under CIRP.
Right.
So let's say it will be treated as submitted. Please understand the word submitted under Section 38. So it is now a submission. Now you have to follow the process of Section 39 and 40. So now you will say, oh, they have already filed it. Its submission is equal to filing. So you will treat it as filed. Now you will verify it. And then under Section 39, read with Regulation 30. And then you will admit or reject under Section 40. So it is only a submission. Submission does not mean you have to accept as it is. You can still reject it. That's not an issue. So therefore, there is a difference of submission, admission, or rejection.
My question is, sir, a claim which is being submitted now during liquidation, number one.
Correct.
And a claim which was submitted earlier during CIRP, but not submitted now.
Correct.
That shall be deemed to have been submitted as per Regulation 12.
Under Section 38, sir, it is only a submission. Receiving these claims. So you have received that claim. Despite the fact the fellow did not file, you will treat it as you have received it. That's all.
No, one question from my side.
जी अभी मैं clarify नहीं कर पाया हूँ शायद. Let me try to clarify.
No, relating to this only.
एक minute. A claim filed during CIRP, not submitted now. Claim number one. Claim number two, claim submitted earlier during CIRP and claim being submitted now also. What is the difference between the two with respect to the verification of claims?
There's no difference, sir. That's what I'm saying. Now, see, please understand. CIRP में जो हुआ, उसको सब हम as liquidator हम भूल जाते हैं. Please understand. We always invite fresh claims. It is the responsibility of the liquidator to verify them again. Of course, he will follow the similar principles. I'm not denying that he will entirely change 100%. So somebody files a fresh claim. Well, you will verify it because now he has extended, because earlier he filed the claim up to ICD. He will update it up to the date of LCD, charging interest, penalty, whatever is there. So you will still verify it. Second situation is where the person has not filed it now, but filed it earlier. So they say, let's avoid duplicity. Let them, if they don't want to revise their claim up to LCD, up to ICD, let us treat it as, but again, the same process of verification, adjudication, admission, rejection has to be done by a liquidator. So I don't find there is any inconsistency, sir. Any claim filed during liquidation, they were supposed to verify or not.
Now, does it mean a claim which was filed earlier, submitted earlier, admitted by the IRP or RP earlier,
can also be rejected?
Can a liquidator reject that claim now?
Let's understand. I'm just comparing the same situation.
Creditor might have received the payment.
Just a sec, sir. Just a sec. Let's understand. Claim admitted under CIRP. Now, under the present situation, he was supposed to file again under liquidation. So liquidator can still reject or admit or not. He could have done that. He may have some reasons. I mean, supposing it was not verified properly by the RP, he could have done it. But generally speaking, 99% he will not reject it. But 1% still he had got authority to reject it. So it's the same situation, sir. Where is the change? So whether you file it afresh in liquidation or whether the same claim is treated, he has to go through the process of Section 39 and 40, according to me. He will have to apply his mind once again.
May I add something, sir?
Yeah.
My view is that if we read the Regulation 16, submission of claim, an amendment in 2019. Previously, it was only that the proof has to be there for the claim. And liquidator was saying that we forget about CIRP, you file a claim afresh. So therefore, the amendment came and it used the word update its claim. So the provision of updation of claim was there in the statute now because of this amendment. Now, what was happening? Sometimes there were cases where IRP or RP would have verified and collated the claim, but they did not have the adjudicatory powers as was there in Swiss Ribbon discussed. So now under liquidation, he has the power of adjudication and he would adjudicate the claim. So therefore, except admission or rejection comes into play. And therefore, section 42 appeal is also there against the decision of the liquidator, which is not there in case of CIRP process. So my view is that whatever claim was submitted, even otherwise.
चलो अब तो पंगा रहेगा. चलो हमने तो कर दिया कई शुरू 24 तारीख.
Sir, here is one question.
I think
one is in case of.
Sir, I'll tell you. If you read Regulation 30, Nipun, let's read Regulation 30 of liquidation. What is the word used? Liquidator shall verify the claims submitted. So submitted afresh or submitted during CIRP is also treated as submitted now. So correct. Submission means it is a first process of submission. Second process is verification. Third process is admission. So these three steps liquidator will have to follow, sir. Nobody can avoid that. And then he has to pass an order, which is appealable order, as you mentioned, under Section 40. I don't see any dichotomy, sir. Madan sir, is there any follow-up?
I do find it, because yes, as per Regulation 30.
Yes, sir.
It says the liquidator shall verify the claims submitted within 30 days. Certainly, if the claims which are being submitted now, these claims are updated claims and have to be verified, because say some financial claim is being submitted, some interest has been added, so he has to verify the claims. Now you are giving an authority to the liquidator that all those deemed admitted cases, the claim was submitted earlier, part of the COC, now he has not submitted the claim, it shall be deemed to have been submitted. Now the liquidator shall verify that claim also and may admit or reject the claim.
Madan sir, let me explain once again. I don't see any dichotomy. I'll tell you why, sir. What is the current situation? Forget about the amended. Now everyone is supposed to file a fresh claim despite the fact you have already filed it in CIRP. So CIRP, supposing 100 claims were admitted. Now he received 120 claims. Now will he verify only 20 claims or will he verify 120 claims independently? He is supposed to verify 120 claims, despite the fact that claim was filed in CIRP and admitted also. He must have good reasons to reject it. I'm not denying that. So what is this change in situation, sir? I don't understand. So now let us take a dichotomy. Supposing I file a fresh claim, despite the fact I filed it during CIRP, he will still verify it because it is a claim submitted within 30 days. But somebody who does not file it, his claim is treated as it is. So he gets an advantage over me. No, that cannot happen, sir. So it is only being treated as a claim submitted. Please look at the language. It is deemed to have been submitted. So after submission, the process of verification and admission has to take place. I don't see any dichotomy here. So anyhow,
one member has raised objection to this discussion. He said that he has explained it. We don't require any.
No, there is no objection. I think Anil Kumarji, let's not write like this. I think I respect Mr. Madan more than me. I mean, let's understand we are only debating for the benefit of, because see, all of us, if we go in the same direction, how will we are going to learn? If he's
one question to for this only, whether the liquidator can add or increase the interest amount which he has already accepted till the CIRP date, now the liquidation date.
Sorry, Akashji, can you repeat your question again?
The CIRP date, the RP has accepted the claim with the interest amount in it. Whether the liquidator can increase from CIRP date to liquidation date, the interest, if it is not filed, the claim again.
Okay, that's a good question. According to me, not. He cannot update on his own because it says any claim which is filed during CIRP will be treated as the claim submitted. So it is only that claim, no updation. Updation will only happen if you file a fresh claim, according to me. Otherwise, we will have to treat, say, he filed only a claim of 50 lakhs. I will only examine 50 lakhs right now. But if he files a fresh claim of say 60 lakhs, including interest over a period of CRP period, well, yes, then I'll examine 60 lakhs. Because same, it will be deemed to have been submitted. No updation. If you do updation, then you will be in trouble, sir, according to me. Okay. Yes, Nipun, go ahead. I'm sorry. I think
I think Nileshji was saying something. Should I move on?
Yeah. Nileshji or anyone else who wants. I think Mr. Tripathi also wanted to say something.
My question has been answered. This is regarding interest up to the CIRP and this.
Okay. Chalo, great.
So now the next regulation is Regulation 31A, Stakeholders Consultation Committee. And I think this is going to be the biggest change which is going to affect all liquidators. Nileshji, you wanted to say something, sir?
Nileshji, you want to say something? No, he's talking to someone else. Please carry on.
Okay. So now the amendment says that the liquidator shall constitute a consultation committee comprising of all creditors of the corporate debtor within 60 days from the liquidation commencement date based on the list of stakeholders prepared under Regulation 31. So I am again going to read it. One is he shall constitute, comprising of all creditors and within 60 days of liquidation commencement. Let us move ahead. Why this is required? So I've just placed old and new together. So I'm just reading the new one. You can see the old one. Remuneration of professionals appointed under Regulation 7, sale under Regulation 32, including sale, pre-bid qualification, reserve price, marketing strategy and auction process, fee of liquidator. Clause C is new, fee of liquidator. Clause D, valuation under sub-regulation 35(2). E, the manner in which proceeding in respect of PUF transaction, if any, shall be pursued after closure of liquidation, and the manner in which the proceedings, if any, from these proceedings shall be distributed. So again, going back, it is mandatory to constitute, comprising of all creditors. And I think this is the biggest trouble. All creditors words is used. Then the timeline is fixed 60 days. Now, I think we can first deliberate on this issue. Madan sir, would you like to comment on this, or should I go ahead with the complete regulation?
Complete kar lo pehle.
Okay. So the next 1A regulation says that the COC under section 21 shall function as the consultation committee with same voting rights till constitution of consultation committee under sub regulation 1. So basically they have filled the gap from the time the liquidation is approved by the NCLT and actual constitution happens. The COC shall continue to exercise its rights. So this is basically a welcome amendment, because the liquidator, which was given omnipotent power, now he would be guided by this consultation committee. The COC, which was there, now it is the SCC. Now this I have intentionally kept it because this is now removed. So previously the regulation had given this cap of creditors. So secured financial creditors, there was a cap of 2 and 4. I am not reading it completely. Unsecured FC, again there was a cap. Then there was a cap on workmen, employees, government department, operational creditors, and shareholders or partners. Now this was there previously. Now it is been removed. Now you see the word we had read was all creditors, and now this table is removed. Now what they say, voting share of a member of consultation committee shall be in proportion to his admitted claim in the total admitted claim. Then there are 3 proviso. First says a secured creditor who has not relinquished his security interest under section 52 shall not be part of consultation committee. So he is out because he has taken his asset, provided that the promoters, directors, partners or their representative may attend the meeting of consultation committee but shall not have any right to vote. So this is again Same thing which is happening in the COC, they have no right to vote. Third, provided further that a financial creditor or his representative, if he is a related party of the CD, shall have no right to vote. So now they have clarified no right to vote for promoters, directors, or partners, or their related party, which we were already practicing in the COC regime. Further, it says that the liquidator may facilitate the stakeholders of each class, namely financial creditors, workmen, employees, government department, other operational creditors, shareholders, partners, to nominate their representative for participation in the consultation committee. Now, here the categories which were there previously in the table has been removed, and now the categories are like this. They have very generally written, these are the classes, and liquidator will have to facilitate somebody from each class. That is what my interpretation is with regard to sub-regulation, this 3. Further, it says 4A, the representative under sub-regulation 3 or 4 shall vote in proportion to the voting share of the stakeholder it represents. Further, it says the liquidator shall convene the first meeting of SCC within 7 days of the liquidation commencement date and may convene other meetings if he considers necessary on a request received from one or more members of the consultation committee, provided that such request is from 33%. So normally this is what we were doing in the COC. The word present and voting has been changed to only voting. So this is the change in sub-regulation 9. Then sub-regulation says 31A9, consultation committee shall advise the liquidator by a vote of not less than 66% of the representative of the consultation committee. Present word is removed and now it is replaced by, or present is omitted and it is now voting. Thereafter, it says advice of the consultation committee shall not be binding on the liquidator. Previously also this was there. What is changed? Provided that where liquidator takes a decision different from the advice given by the committee, he shall record the same in writing. So it would be reasons why he is not going with it. But and submit the records relating to the said decision to adjudicating authority and to the board within 5 days of the said decision and include it in the next progress report. Now, this is something which is very important. If he is not agreeing, he has to submit the records relating to said decision to the NCLT, to the adjudicating authority, and to the board, means IBBI, within 5 days of the said decision and include it in the next progress report. So he has to submit. Now here the word is submit the records relating to the said decision to the adjudicating authority. Now, as such, Makija sir would agree with me, there is no provision of submitting it to the adjudicating authority without filing any application. Secondly, to the board within 5 days. So basically now we have an additional onus to inform IBBI whether we are not agreeing with the consultation committee's advice or not. So in a way, normally we say that sometimes High Court request or Supreme Court request. So that request is in a way direction only. So this is something they are saying, if you are not going with the flow of the SCC, you have to explain why you are not agreeing with them. So I think, sir, I should stop here because much of the material I've spoken, and I would request both of you to give your comments on the formation of SCC. I am again going back to this.
One question to Nibunji.
Yes.
Just go back to the first slide. Yeah. So here, if we look now, go to the other slide which you were showing earlier. 31A wala ek aur slide hai na. Look at this one. Earlier than this. 31A. This one. Just stop here. Now look at the clause number E. What does it say? First is a very innocuous part. The manner in which the proceedings in respect of PUF transactions or fraudulent transactions shall be pursued after the closure of the liquidation proceedings. That is all right. Then it says the manner in which the proceeds shall be distributed. Now, I am slightly confused here. In CIRP, the manner of distribution can be decided by COC. It can be anything. It can go to financial creditors, it can go to RA, it can come to the corporate debtor, or whatever way you want it, because COC has the commercial wisdom. Now, in liquidation, how can SCC decide? You see, any amount which is coming to the company, the corporate debtor, or to the liquidator from the liquidation estate or anything else, now has to be distributed in accordance with 53. Now, are we saying that we will not follow section 53, but we will follow the advice of the SCC, and which is also not binding on the liquidator? Now, I don't know what is the meaning of this, the manner in which the proceeds from these proceedings shall be distributed. I think it was not necessary. They are flowing the concept of CIRP into liquidation. It was not necessary according to me. This is causing more confusion than solving an issue out here. Madan Saab, any comments on this?
I agree with you, sir. They should make the decision from the advice to the decision. They change this word. That should be the decision of the SCC, not the advice. Now, if on all these issues, if the advice is be given by the state SCC and then liquidator does not follow that, I'm very sure the double A is going to come very heavily on this liquidator. Correct. Certainly, if they are mentioning something that it has to be distributed like this only, liquidator will have no other option but to follow that.
And two, sir, let's understand in SCC, supposing somebody has got 94% voting share. Now, naturally, he will say that the entire amount of PUF transaction will come to me. Now, how can he say that in violation of section 53?
Yes.
There is a clear clash between this and section 53. I don't know how it is going to be practical.
Distributed in terms of 53 only.
Correct.
Sir, my view is that this is something which we have to read with the new regulation 44A. Now, 44A and this, if we read it together, it means that when we are going for dissolution or closure, so basically this should not stand in the way. Therefore, they have made this clarification. This is again a matter of interpretation. Regulation 44A, I would just read it. The liquidator shall, on the advice of the consultation committee, provide in the application along with the final report filed under regulation 45 for the manner in which proceedings in respect of avoidance transaction will be pursued after dissolution or closure of liquidation process, and the manner in which proceeds, if any, from such proceedings shall be distributed. So I think the view why this is coming is that SCC will give a go ahead that you may close the company or dissolve the company, and then how this application would be continued, because there would be a litigation cost to run this application, who would be authorized to continue this application. Probably the logic is this, but I agree with your view that this particular clause will have dual interpretation.
Sir, we're not disputing dissolution or liquidation, because naturally the company has to be liquidated or dissolved, no doubt about it. Now, Akashji is also here. Can you believe we have filed an application in one of your cases? You also mentioned recovery is 400 crores. Now, 400 crores, the manner of distribution, when law says you divide in that manner, how can a stakeholders committee can decide, look, no, you will divide in this manner? I see some dichotomy. Number one, first, you should not be able to close liquidation unless these things are sorted out. But anyhow, the regulations say you can close it for the sake of administrative convenience. But at the end of the day, the money which is flowing even after you see dissolution, I think it needs to be distributed to the stakeholders in order of priority under 53. There can't be any other way.
Absolutely.
I see a lot of issues in this.
Rajuji wants to ask some question.
Yeah,
please ask Rajuji.
Yeah, one question to Nibunji. In the case of ongoing liquidation matters, what is the timeline for reconstituting the stakeholders committee as per the new amended regulations and for convening the meeting?
Sir, it is 30 days. I am coming on to it. We have not completed the SCC complete regulations. We are only halfway. I just stopped here because there are some other issues with respect to the constitution. Now, let me...
one minute from one question from my side.
Please,
the new regulation, they say that consultation committee shall be consisting of all creditors of the corporate debtor. So including unsecured creditors also. So there may be 100, 200 creditors. So consultation committee will be consisting of 100 or 200 creditors. So how they will be taking a decision, and their decision making has to be based on their voting share, which will be based on their amount admitted. In case of CIRP, we have only the financial creditors and voting rights are with them. In case of liquidation, there is no differentiation in financial and operational creditors. All creditors are creditors only, though we can bifurcate them in secured and unsecured. But here it says that all creditors of the CD, they shall be members of the consultation committee, SCC. I think it will be very difficult to implement it.
No, Nilesh, it will not be difficult. I'll tell you. Nipun, can you show regulation 3, which is amended now, 31A3? They have already facilitated, sir. It's not going to be a big deal. It's not going to be a big problem. Look at this. The liquidator may facilitate the stakeholders of each class, namely financial creditors in a class, which is like home buyers, workmen, employees, government department, other operational creditors, shareholders, partners, to nominate their representative. So one representative of each of these people will be there. So this answers your question straight away. Like, see, all financial creditors will be a part of stakeholders, no problem. The financial creditors in a class will have one representative. Similarly, workmen will only one representative. Employees, one representative. All government departments, one representative. And other operational creditors means all other operational creditors will be clubbed into one class, and one representative will be sitting in the meeting. So
actually, they should have
7 to 10 people or 12 people.
If you see that regulation, new regulation, Ashishji, it says the liquidator shall constitute a consultation committee comprising of all creditors of the corporate debtor. They are not saying that representatives of them.
So we don't have to, Nilesh, we don't have to read this one provision. We have to read harmoniously. So we have to read the entire provision. So if I read sub-regulation 3, which is newly added, along with the sub-regulation 1, I get a feeling that only one representative will represent in the part of this. They are part of it, but they will be, you see, represented by so and so person. And their voting will also be in accordance with the proportion. This is also mentioned, sir. So therefore, there is no confusion.
That will be in proportion too.
Yeah, rather it is very convenient actually.
Actually,
but identifying a representative not be an easy thing.
Sir, उसका बड़ा simple तरीका है, देखिए. अभी क्या हो रहा है? अभी yes sir, Madan sir, go ahead.
Yeah, earlier what has happened? Earlier 31A2 prescribed, rather specified, how many representatives from each category.
Correct.
It was very clear. Now they have deleted that, inserted this 2 and 3, all these have been replaced. There is no clarity in 2 and 3. In 2 or 3, they could have mentioned one representative from each class. But what they are saying, representative, nominate their representative. Then we have to do general clauses, whether singular includes plural also, or plural includes singular also or not. This will again lead to litigation. Each class will say we can nominate more than one also, where it is written one representative.
No, actually earlier voting was based on number of persons voting in favor or against. So if there are 4 members, 3 vote in favor, so then 75% will be treated as in favor. But now voting will be based on the voting share, which will be given to them based on their admitted dues.
Sir, I'm not on the voting right now. My issue is there are suppose 1,000 OCs. They will say we will have 50 representatives. We will have 10 representatives. They could have specified. The matter is over.
Madan sir, I would like to just add on what you said. Suppose it's a company where shareholders are there. There are companies where crores of shareholders are there. How would we get the representation?
Sir, I'll tell you, see, there is no difficulty. Now, you see, you guys will have to adopt, liquidators will have to adopt a methodology. I'll tell you, one issue came. Let me explain that. In NCLAT, we all know that the one representative of OCs can come if the aggregate, if it is more than 10% of the aggregate debts. Now the NCLAT asked me a question. He said, Mr. Makhija, is it not the responsibility of the RP to facilitate? I said, my lords, it is not my responsibility. Unlike, you see, under the class of creditors where I have to facilitate, there are no provisions. So then he said, no, there should be there, but we agree with you, but that should be there. So here comes that change. That's why you become a facilitator. So how do you have to facilitate? It's very simple. Supposing there are 100 operational creditors, you give them a voting, online voting. You say, please nominate one of the persons, you please tell us. Supposing 2-3 names come to you, you start voting the person who gets maximum vote. It is a facilitation, that's all. See, I don't think there is, of course, it increases your burden, but at least their clarity is there. Now read it in conjunction with 4A, which is you are showing on the screen. Now that will answer Mr. Madan's question. The representative under subregulation 3 or 4 shall vote in proportion to the voting share of the shareholder it represents. So therefore, there can be only one representative. There can't be more than one representative because he is voting in accordance with the voting share of that, say, 100 operating creditors.
My issue is not on voting. There are
yes,
but there is another contradiction.
Yes, sir.
This regulation says liquidator shall constitute a consultation committee comprising of all creditors of the corporate debtor. And here it says liquidator may facilitate the stakeholders of each class, namely financial creditors in a class, workmen, employees, government departments, other OCs, shareholders, partners. Shareholders and partners, they are not creditors. Okay, though earlier the term which was used was stakeholders. Okay, but now they are saying that all creditors will be there in the committee. So the shareholders are not creditors.
Yes,
and one more thing, how much voting share they will have?
Shareholder, yes.
Shareholders.
They have stakeholders. They are stakeholders. So that is not. No, in any case, you see, the point is the shareholders, you see, they don't have the right to vote. No? That is what we have mentioned there.
Sir, the previous one says promoters, whereas they hear the word used is shareholders.
Oh, shareholders.
I don't know why.
Yeah. Okay. See, generally speaking, in our, you see, in winding up matters, even shareholders were also filing a claim.
Correct.
Well, I'll tell you why. At the end of the day, supposing there is a surplus money, in one case it happened. The company came into liquidation with OL in 1970. The value of the you see land was only 20 lakhs when they bought it. It was sold in 2015 and it was sold for 100 crores. Now all claims were satisfied. So what will you do with the surplus money? So logic is that the surplus money belongs to the shareholders. So shareholders, those who had filed the claim, they were also paid off. So even shareholders are supposed to file the claim.
That is the reason that the term stakeholders has been used.
Correct. So other stakeholders is already there. So even shareholders are supposed to file it. So if they don't file a claim, then of course they will not be considered as a part of the stakeholders.
Correct.
In the balance sheet, where do you show share capital? Liability side.
No, it is there. But at the same time,
once the company comes in winding up, it becomes a debt owed by the company. Sir, they are called as contributories.
Yes.
So it is a debt owed. Only in that circumstance it becomes a debt owed. Otherwise, it is not treated as a debt owed. It is a capital. But once the company comes in liquidation, it becomes a debt.
There. So let me discuss one more case here.
Yes, sir.
In one of the cases, the resolution professional filed a liquidation application. Now, some of the OCs, they approached adjudicating authority. We were not invited to POC meeting where this liquidation decision has been taken. Can you believe it? The adjudicating authority directed this RP that you have not complied with section 24 subsection 3C. You invite all the operational, all, not the representative, invite all operational creditors, hold a COC meeting and then come to us. He had no other option but to come to operational creditors, clean a meeting, then pass again one more resolution, then come to here for liquidation.
So that is an exception because what this NCLT has done is against the provision of section 33 subsection 2. So I don't think they passed a good order. It was a bad order. But anyhow, whatever has been passed, we can treat it as an exception. Because 33.2 clearly says the call has to be taken by COC.
The only issue is clarity has been provided why to have such a draft. That is the issue.
Well, I agree with you that there is a defect in the language, but intent is that only. I agree, sir. I agree. Okay,
one question from my side. The shareholders' shares price, if loss is more than the capital, then what will be the value of the shares? That is, if we go by the book value of the shares, it is negative.
Sir, whatever you have invested, your value is that only now. That you will get a haircut. See, you also give a loan.
In the books of the company, it is negative.
Sir, forget about that. So it is negative for creditor also. Creditor also files a claim. Whatever he has given the money to the company, whatever shareholder has given to the company will be his claim. Now, whether he will be paid or not, that the law will see. If supposing the property value goes up, say 20 times in 20 years, he may get his money or he may not get his money. So we are not going for valuation, sir. Please understand. If valuation method is to be adopted, then it should be adopted for creditors also. Why not?
Nice, sir. The shareholder has to submit a claim for the face value or face value plus premium.
Face value, sir.
Maybe that
Whatever,
is
not face value, paid up value. Whatever
face value plus premium.
No, sir. Whatever he has paid, I'm saying paid up value. Obviously, if he has paid a premium over it, yes, he will claim that also. That will be there, sir.
One clarification, sir. Sir. In the case that subclass 3, the representative, should the representative belong to the class? Suppose, can a single member be representing both workmen and employees?
See, I'll tell you, sir, these questions are unanswered, but let us go back and see the other things. Look at, supposing there are no financial creditors in COC. Then we say 18 top operational creditors, 1 representative workman, and so on. So, and there it is clarified that a person who is already represented as a part of the top 18, he will not be a representative of it. So there can't be a dual representation. See, let us apply common sense. That's all. So according to me, if a person is been selected for one representative of one, he should not be selected for a representative of the other. Of course, it is not mentioned here. I'm just saying we have to be more logical about it. So that's the way you should deal it.
One counter question on the shareholders.
Yes,
in
sir.
private limited company, 4 shareholders are there. All are promoters. So should we treat as a promoters or shareholders?
See, they will be treated as, see, whether they have been designated as promoters or not, because promoters
all
just
promoters.
So then they will fall in the category of promoters only. That's all.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir, I have a question, sir. Sir, this amendment came into effect from 16th September. Now, what's happened to the process which have gone to an advanced stage? I mean, most of the work is done. Even then, the liquidator has to reconstruct that SCC and follow all this amendment.
Yes, sir. It has been already been done. At whatever stage you are, you will have to reconstitute the SCC. There is no quarrel on this, sir. These apply for all pending liquidations and future liquidations. As far as they apply. Supposing you have already sold all the assets, then in SCC you will not take decisions about the other things and all. So as far as they apply, you will have to make provisions for that, sir.
Should I proceed, sir?
Sir, I think it's already 9:30. Let me check the mood of the all participants. Should we go for a, how much time?
Yes, very interesting. Yes, very interesting. We are ready.
Manoj, you can't check the mood of all the participants. That's the next to impossible.
We can complete it.
To take a call whether to continue or not.
Yeah, I think that is important. I think what you can do is you can devote a separate time for the entire liquidation, because these are all practical issues people are asking and they're relevant questions according to us.
So I think, sir, I would just like to add 2 things, which when these questions were coming to me, that how many creditors or number of persons in each class we can get it. So frankly speaking, when I read the regulation, we do not get any answer. They are silent. But if we go back to the discussion paper, there the intention was something else. They had removed all this classes with number because, let's say, financial creditors all were not being represented. Then there were issues with regard to distribution, wherein some FCs who are not represented in the SCC, they were saying that we have been wrongly paid or underpaid. So to do away with that, they had introduced this, and they have very categorically said that this would be how the payment would be made as per section 53 waterfall to the stakeholders as per the liquidation value. So that was the intention. But when I read the final regulation, that intention is nowhere captured. So I think probably they would have to make some amendment further to clarify, because if we go by that logic, this appears to be good for all the creditors, because then the representation is in accordance with the claim which they are going to get as per the liquidation value. So that then it is logical. So this is what I could gather from the discussion paper, and I think all can read those discussion paper. It's available on the IBBI website.
Nipun, on this, you see, I'll just comment on this. Look, if we are saying, oh, more than one representative can also be appointed, then you see it leads to absurdity. Please understand. Supposing there are 100 operational creditors, then everyone will say, I'll nominate my representative. So it's back to the square one. That is not the intention. When we speak of representative is for a complete set of people, like all of other operational creditors. So all other operational creditors will be represented by one person. So we can't say there can be more than one representative. I will not agree to that. Of course, the language is defective, language is not clear, language is not specific. I agree with that.
Sir, in fact, I tell you, the same issue happened with one of our matters. It went to Supreme Court. It is under IBC only, Citrus Check-in and Royal Twinkle Star. What had happened in this case was there were huge number of investors totaling in around 18 lakhs. Now, what we did was there was no regulation of representation at that point of time. These were early matters. So when we constituted that 1818, then again, it was some of the class would come and say that we also have the same amount. So normally NCLT allowed their representation, said that whatever group you are coming, you can be represented by one. So these two were sister concerns. So 18 plus 18 was 36, but the total number went up to 56. Till the matter went to Supreme Court, it was confirmed till Supreme Court. Now, obviously, Supreme Court has asked them to nominate only one person, but till the process went up till there, we were taking into consideration all of them.
Well, Nipun, in Regulation 3, if you read this, may facilitate stakeholders of each class. Now, what is that class? Operational creditors are bunched together as one class. Government are bunched into one class. You can't have more than one. See, for each class means one representative for each class. I will read it like that, sir. I will not read it differently. But anyhow, I mean, of course.
Now, what was happening? I tell you, my case in Gujarat, we were only inviting income tax, frankly, in the SCC. Now the sales tax has come and they are saying, now we are going to get money, please include us. So that is what has started happening.
Right.
Acha, Manoj ji.
Suppose there are two batches.
I think we can conclude now.
मनोज जी,
हाँ जी गुप्ता जी बताइए प्लीज।
मनोज जी, मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ कि 7 बजे से हम लोगों ने शुरू किया था, so 9:30 तक का टाइम था। We must close at 9:30 because there is no end. हम लोग 5 घंटा भी बात कर सकते हैं, there is no end, so we must adhere to time.
Manoj ji, what we do is, I think on Saturday again, we can I think we can continue with the remaining regulations. Okay, already it is more than 9:30.
इसलिए we started 7 o'clock and 9:30 तक टाइम था, we must adhere to the timing.
सर, मैंने जितनी भी सीओसी की मीटिंग्स हेल्ड करता हूँ ना, सब में वही बात निकल के आती है जो मैं चाहता हूँ। मैं भी यही चाह रहा था कि इसको खत्म करा जाए, लेकिन मैं खुद इनिशिएटिव लेके ये बात करना नहीं चाहता था। I thought let me have the consensus. That is why I asked what is the mood of the all members. तो mood of the all members, सर मदान सर पता चल गया कि सब मेंबर्स का मूड यही है कि 9:30 तक बहुत ज्यादा टायरिंग हो गया, और वैसे भी यह सैटरडे नाइट है। चलिए, हम लोग एजेड हो गया, सैटरडे नाइट वाला हमारे में फीवर नहीं है, बट स्टिल we love to watch TV with our family and everything there. So let's enjoy that thing. Nilesh, please have your closing remarks and then we conclude the meeting, please.
Okay.
Sikha, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Invite Nilesh and so that we can conclude the meeting.
So I thank, on behalf of IPA, I thank my speakers of the day, Ashish ji, Mr. Madan and Mr. Nipun Sang, for such a wonderful session. It has been very enlightening and interactive discussion, and I'm sure all our participants, they must have been benefited because with the deliberations. So what we are doing is now that I think for the remaining regulations, we will be, I think on the coming Saturday, we will try that on coming Saturday, we will be having another session, and we will be requesting our experts to again come back to us and then enlighten us with the remaining regulations. And I also thank the participants, because without their participation, the session would not have been so interesting, because their questions, they have helped the speakers to clarify the doubts. And I think most of us have been immensely benefited because of all this. Thank you very much, participants. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I would like to add, extend my end note with Nilesh. We have three other associations are also working together with us. We shall have their consent also, and then accordingly we shall fix the time. We shall be informed to all the participants also. And now I end our meeting. Today our the finance minister was in the 6th IBBA meeting. He said that the biggest role shall be played by the RP in the whole IBC platform. He was concerned that delay is killing valuation, but she said that she was quite with confidence was saying that we have a great confidence in all the RPs. They will be able to have more valuation, maximization of valuation, and the haircut which we are seeing right now of 90-95%. They will able to reduce it. They will reduce it by educating and by having more experience. Only in that process, only in the process of being educated, we are holding all these webinars. In fact, this is what I have to say. Thank you very much, Nipun ji. आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Madan sir, you are always a motivating factor. जब भी हम Madan sir को याद करते हैं, he is with us and motivate me also. कि मनोज जी ऐसे नहीं ऐसे करो. And we are thankful to Ashish Makhija ji. He, being sitting in USA, must be doing something very important. He has given us a time. Thank you very much, Gupta sir. You look to be the eldest among all of us. With your blessings, with your saying all the things from Calcutta. Thank you very much. And thanks a lot. And
thanks to organizers.
Thanks करेंगे sir.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to organizers also from the participant side on a very beautiful session has been all the deliberation done by Mr. Nipun ji, Makhija ji or Madan ji, where will add to our knowledge, and it will go very long, especially for me. Yesterday evening I got appointed a liquidator in one of the case, and it will be very, very useful for me because there is a lot of changes. So especially it is useful for immediate, it will be in immediate use for me. So I extend thanks to all the organizers and all the speakers also. Thank you very much.
Thanks to Kerala Association also, Insolvency Association also, and GIPA Insolvency Association also, being our partner. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm ending the
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.